Oh, Jack, if only they could hear what's said before we hit the go live button. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Monkey in the Morning. I'm your host, the Ranting Monkey. He's Jack. Say hello, Jack.
Hi, everybody. We were talking about poop.
We were, which, by the way, is on our screen right there. I forgot to take Sam off the screen.
Whoopsie.
We're going to be talking about him soon enough anyway, so we'll leave him up there. His little fat, unkempt, evil-looking ass. You felon, fuck you. Anyway, what a way to start the show. Guys, welcome. Hope you're all well. Hope everybody had a great day. Miss Nuts, sorry to hear about your loss. Miss Nuts lost a pet today.
Yeah, that sucks. I'm sorry, Nuts.
That sucks. You guys know how I feel about my pets. I hate when that stuff happens. Pets should just live forever. Disgruntled Technician, thank you so much for joining the channel. And also, while we were off the air, Jack, Disgruntled Technician, thank you so very much. He sent two. The first one says, you can't just throw motherfucker in anywhere. Samuel L. Jackson disagrees. Well, Samuel L. Jackson has an exemption because of how well he says it. There, you see, context is everything. And he also says, here's to hoping this is a fun night. Got to watch a good friend of mine get married today and would love to end this day on a good note. Thank you for that feminist $12.
Nice.
Yeah, there was a lot of things I wanted to talk about yesterday, Jack, but for reasons that are irrelevant, I couldn't do a show yesterday. Did you watch the Dankula thing?
No, I haven't had time, honestly.
Dankula did a breakdown of Ruby Ridge, for those of you who don't know. Count Dankula, for people who are unaware of who Dankula is. It is a really, really, really good telling of the Ruby Ridge story.
Oh.
He doesn't sugarcoat the fact that, that Randy was a white separatist, not a white supremacist. There is a difference. He doesn't sugarcoat the fact this guy moves up into the mountains to live away from everybody because of religious zealotry, which is basically what it was. He believed it was the end of the world.
Yeah,
but he also doesn't sugarcoat the fact that the FBI, what they did there was horrendous, and that nobody got punished for it.
Nope. Some of those guys got promoted.
One guy went to jail, and it wasn't for anything that actually happened that day. It was for the cover-up. It's the cover-up that's the bad thing. Isn't that the Washington, D.C. motto?
Yeah, because they're all a bunch of crooks.
Hey, Alan, how you doing? Thank you so much. Says, hello, monkey. Hello, sir.
Oh, yeah. Before the show, thank you, Retro V Gamer, for that very generous donation, who said, Happy Godzilla Day, his 69th birthday. Nice. This should cover your IMAX ticket for Godzilla -1. Enjoy. Thank you. I am definitely going to go see that movie now. I'm super excited to see that. It looks freaking awesome.
I did want to talk about the Ruby Ridge thing. Just one thing Dankula, I think, got wrong, where he went with the official story where he shouldn't have.
Oh.
So Vicky Weaver gets shot in the face and killed.
Yep. Well, hold the baby.
While holding the baby. The FBI starts playing messages to her. Hey, Vicky, this is actually when we're having pancakes. What are you guys having for breakfast? This is after she's dead.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
And the government's official statement is that they didn't know she had been shot. You're telling me a sniper pulled the trigger and did not keep looking through his scope to see what happened?
No, they're just on a wing and a prayer, well, maybe that was a hit, maybe that was a miss. Who knows? Not like those guys keep track of their kills.
It's like in one of those movies where it's a bad guy and he fires from a window and quickly has to put it up so he can't really see what happened in the aftermath. No, that motherfucker, what? They knew she was dead. I will not believe them. That they didn't know that. They were being intentionally cruel to that family.
Of course they were. That is barbaric on so many levels.
Yeah, and it really, really was. But the rest of what he said, I mean, I didn't disagree with anything else he said. From what I know of the incident and everything, he got it pretty spot on. He says he's going to do a Waco one, which I'm interested to see that now.
Yeah, that should be pretty good. It's going to take a lot of research and time.
He also made a reference to Marston. For those of you who don't get that reference, they said that they were going to Marston Randy Weaver. That is a reference from the end of Red Dead Redemption. Spoiler alert, the game's been out forever, and it's also been re-released now for quite a while. At the end of that game, after he goes and does the Pinkertons' dirty work the whole time, they assassinate his ass. They bring a whole posse to just waste him.
Of course.
Yeah, it's exactly what they were planning on doing to Randy Weaver.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a reference to John Marston from that game. Thank you.
I thought it was a different Marston. I thought it was the guy that played Spike on Buffy.
No. I thought his name was Masters.
I don't know. I don't fucking pay attention to that shit.
The hell's his name now? James Masters, I think.
Sure.
Anyway, this is Kyle. Thank you. It's obviously a 360 no scope. Sniper got hit markers. Just wasn't sure who from. Yeah. What he needed was a little thing to pop up and tell him who he killed on the side of the screen.
A quest marker.
Yeah. And
don't
Madsen,
I don't think.
James Madsen, is that it? Madsen?
I'm gonna look it up. Hold on.
It's been a long time since I've watched Buffy, so I don't remember. I got the James right. I'm proud of myself.
More than I cared about. I've seen the show. I don't really give a shit beyond that. Thank you, Alan, for the generous donation. It says, hello, Jack. Hi, Alan. Hope you're doing well, man. James Marsters.
Marsters, there it is.
Marsters.
Dixie says his video on Jonestown was good too. I didn't know he did one. I haven't watched Dankula in a long time. I like Dankula. He's a funny guy and everything, but he's a little bombastic, or at least he was when I used to watch him, and I just couldn't anymore. Nothing against him. I love Dankula. I recommend him to people. It's just not for me, kind of, because that bombastic shit I can't take, Jack.
I kind of have trouble with his accent sometimes. And all I hear is haggis.
I hear you, and I was worried about that going into this, because it's usually when he's like that, when he's being so rambunctious that it's hard to tell what the fuck he's saying. I understood all of this perfectly. It was great. So anyway, watch that one. And where was it? Lieber Wolf mentioned the Down the Rabbit Hole. I watched that whole thing. Yeah, the EVE Online thing. It's weird because it's all video game, but in a weird way, it's history in a weird way that doesn't mean much, but is still compelling. I really would like to see I watched right before this, Jack, maybe 2 weeks ago, and I think I said this on stream, that I had been watching a whole bunch of the lore of the history of what goes on in EVE, and so I knew some of what was talked about there. He goes over a lot of the background stuff that's going on with the company as well, and that stuff I didn't know. So another recommended one for you, but oh man, 5 hours. You have to. There were parts of it, I'm not gonna lie to you, I kind of zoned out.
I only got an hour in so far. It's interesting, but it's one of those things like I have zero interest in this game. I just like documentaries.
I like the human interaction of it. The way that these people had to go about creating this war in this game that really, if you wanted to, you could all get along and just be nice to each other and ooh la la. But it's kind of a microcosm of the human condition. A warlord will rise, and they did. And people just followed them because it really is good. It really is. Anyhow, Jack, let's move on to the more contemporary events. That's not concurrent because, yeah. Sam Bankman-Fried was found guilty of all charges in 4 hours of jury deliberation, Jack.
Yeah, they wanted lunch, didn't they?
I hope so. I hope they got their lunch. 4 hours. You know what pissed me off? I read a whole bunch of stories on this, and so many of them were talking about how bad this must have been for his parents.
Oh, okay. Wasn't his dad kind of in on this shit?
His dad has some connections to it. He's getting off scot-free. But all of these stories, like his mom was breaking down. Yeah, most defendants' parents aren't like, yeah, put that fucker in prison.
Yeah, it seemed like it was a, slightly biased angle to take because your parents love you and they never think you did anything wrong. How many times have we heard, oh, he's such a good boy, he didn't do nothing? And it turns out he's got a rap sheet a mile long.
Sam Bankman-Fried is facing 110 years in prison, and I hope he gets all 110 so that he's not out before 30.
Yeah.
And I mean 30 years, not 30, because he's over 30 now. Fuck this guy. I hope he goes to jail for a long, 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 long time.
Yeah, I hope they find whatever money he's got tucked away, too.
I'm with the quartering. It's honestly shocking he was convicted. It's not shocking at all if you followed the trial even a little bit. When he went on the stand, Jack, look, this is why I think he's probably going to get close to the maximum years. He just kept pissing off the judge. The judge had to repeatedly remind him he wasn't answering questions.
Yeah, he was whining about not getting his ADHD meds or something in jail, too.
Yeah, the whole case against him was pretty rock solid. The defense tried to blame it on that ugly chick and a lawyer that was fired in 2020.
Well, that ugly chick used her magical vaginal juices to hypnotize him. See,
I'm with the money they had. Why is that the best you can pull? Never mind. It's that effective altruism, right?
Yeah.
Well, even ugly girls need love too. I read that somewhere. But no, he tried blaming it all on her and this lawyer who, again, had been fired in 2020. So it's been a few years since he was even with the company, and this shit was still going on. To try to blame it on that guy and say, no, I didn't take any. By the way, a lot of the stuff that started was when he was the CEO over everything, even Alameda and all that, because he was the CEO of Alameda, the one that technically stole all the money.
Yeah.
And then he's like, here, ugly chick that I porked. Why don't you go run this thing? And the idea that it was those two people's fault is just asinine. He basically said, yeah, I did it. But it was their fault. And then ask him question after question. What about this? I don't remember that at all. Yeah. What about where this? No. He would have been better off just saying, I had a drug problem and I was really high through most of that. I don't remember it. Because to just go up there and say, I don't remember. You're talking about major fraud, and there's only two possibilities there. Either you have a severe memory problem like me, Jack, and even mine's better than that. Or, you could be lying. Or the rot in your company was so bad that this amount of fraud, where you're literally stealing billions of dollars from people, was so minor it didn't even make your radar.
Well, I think the problem was you had a lot of incompetent and or amoral people that were hired. Like the unfortunate looking girl, I think she was just incompetent. I think he was amoral and he thought this was his piggy bank. And there was weird sense of entitlement going on where he still doesn't think he did anything wrong.
Jeffrey Epstein, thanks so much. Who says, Dear Sam, do not let the guards take a long lunch.
Yeah. Real quick. Thank you, Evolved Potato. The fact that Ruby Ridge all started over government entrapment to try and force him into snitching on a group that was already full of informants really gets to me. Really reinforces that the governments are shitbags and to never trust them at all. Yeah, never trust the government, especially a politician. They're two-faced sneakies. But bureaucrats, some of the most dangerous fucking people on the planet.
Maybe we'll cover the Dankula one because we've gone over Ruby Ridge before, but we should delve back into it now that people have some more reference to it. But tonight we got to do Ben Shapiro because I want to have a laugh.
Ew, you're gonna do Ben Shapiro?
Yes, I'm gonna be wetter than his wife was. Anyway,
wow.
Sam's going to jail, and he deserves to go to jail because not even jail. He's going to pound me in the butt prison.
He's gonna go to Club Fed. What are you talking about?
I doubt it. He's not going to go to like maximum security, but he's going someplace nasty with as much money as he stole and as many lives as he ruined. They're going to make an example out of him.
I hope you are correct.
They're going to Madoff his ass. And rightfully so. Send this motherfucker away. Anyway, one thing I did want to comment on, Kurt Metzger.
I don't know. We're screwing up names all over the place today.
I
so
do
just
it.
Roll with it.
Comedian who's friends with Scribbles over on Twitter. He's like, it's not much different than this effective altruism thing. It's not much different than, Bill Gates being like, look at my philanthropy I'm doing. And I just wanted to point out that there is a difference there. There's a lot of people who do shitty things on the way up, and then, they use philanthropy to kind of cure their conscience. Look how much good I did. The difference here is these guys with their effective altruism. It's literally the notion, hey, make me rich and then I'll be a good person. You know what I mean? Because they're like, hey, I'm getting very rich so I can give it all away to people.
Uh-huh.
You're not living. Look, he drives an Acura. Look, he has private islands and shit. What the fuck are you talking? He was not living poor just because he drove a poor person car. He sure as shit wasn't driving it off the lot with no features. Can we stop pretending that he wore sweatshirts because he was too lazy to put on a fucking suit? He tried to excuse laziness by pretending that he's just altruistic. I'm not going to put on a $2,000 suit. Instead, I'm going to wear this $500 sweatshirt. The motherfucker wasn't shopping at Walmart. Thank you, Circus Zero. I sent you a link to a Waco video by Wendigoon. Probably the best Waco video I've seen so far. I might have seen that one. I'll have to check it out. And Sin Nikki, thank you. Sam's going to Club Fed or getting Hillary educated. Hashtag Hillary education. Hashtag not sad. I think Sam's going to real prison. He's not going to max security because he's not, a murderer, but he's going to real prison. Bye, Sammy, and fuck you. A couple more stories we want to hit on quickly before we move along to the thing. I should announce this at the start of the show. If you're new here and you're looking for the Ben Shapiro stuff, if you're watching this and we're not live, just jump ahead till you find it. If you're waiting for it live, it's coming up. We just want to get a couple of these stories out of the way real quick because we had some big news breaking. Let's start with this one, Jack. We had illegals acting badly. Illegals caught with explosives tailored for terrorism have GOP raising new alarms on Biden's risky border policies.
What?
Yeah. Senators John Brasso, John Cornyn, and Ted Cruz and Pete Ricketts held a press conference after visiting the southern border. Ricketts said that the lack of border security meant the U.S. was, quote, opening ourselves up for terrorist attack, end quote. And Barrasso noted that, or is that Barras? I don't know how you say his name. Noted that the unstated number of immigrants had been taken into custody with, quote, explosive devices tailored for terrorism, end quote, in their possession, Fox News reported. Now, Jack, as interesting as that part is, and it is quite interesting, what was more interesting to me is I went over to the Fox story, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is their headline. GOP senators bash Biden's immigration policy after trip to border. Increased threat for terrorist attack.
Yeah. Way to downplay the whole explosives angle.
Yeah. Could you water that down more? How about just immigrants come across the border without permission? They're being caught with fucking explosives. Don't worry, guys. Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. Don't worry about that southern border. Kamala has it under control.
Yeah.
And there's not much more to the stories other than, these guys went down to the border and they held this press conference where they said that. You would think that would be bigger news, though.
You would think so, but most of the media is left-wing. Some of it probably partly owned by China, let's be honest. And the left has vastly skewed view of what's going on at the border, and they want to keep it that way. They have a narrative that these are just the huddled masses of poverty that are coming over the border for a better life. And one or two terrorists is not going to dissuade their narrative, no matter how dangerous of a threat it is. I think this should be massive news all over the place.
Speaking of dangerous, I saw what you said. We will get to that in just a second, my friend.
Yes.
Yeah, especially what we just saw happen in Israel. The fact that they caught 18 people on a terrorist watch list last week.
Yes.
We're catching explosives, and this is just what they caught. This isn't, who knows what got through. Maybe, I'm just throwing this out there. We fuck me. We should secure that fucking border.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like we caught a bunch of Chinese nationals trying to sneak into Florida the other day, or all the Chinese nationals that were caught at the border, or the Yemenis, or the Iranians, or even the Russians and Ukrainians that we caught. Nothing to see here. What your head is full of dizzy stuff, broad. I don't know what you're talking about. You're crazy. These are just people looking for a better life, not to blow us up at all.
Speaking of blow up, it was Dangerous's birthday the other day, Jack, and we missed being able to sing to him. He asked if we would do it now, and my answer is, of course. Dangerous Spaces, this one is for you. Very, very big supporter of our show, and we thank him for all he does for us. This one's for you, man. And a 1 and a 2. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Dangerous Spaces, the other day. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, sir. Hope you had a good one. And apparently it's Kingslayer Damocles' birthday right now.
Oh.
So we got a 2 for Jack.
Oh, indeed.
Kingslayer, this one's yours. And a 1 and a 2. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Kingslayer Damocles. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, sir. Hope you have a great one. I really, really, really do. I like that we're part of so many of these people's happy birthdays, Jack.
Yeah.
All right. What time are we at right now? Okay, yeah, we're fine. Why am I scrolled so far down here? I hate when I do that. I got the story ready to go, Jack, but I'm scrolled way down, so I can't see the title.
That's because you were reading it.
Well, I forgot to go back to the top when you said it. Driver rammed through security fence at South Carolina nuclear plant, authorities say. Same vehicle and driver were also allegedly showed up on the property of the nuclear station an hour before the incident occurred, but drove off after being asked to leave.
Nothing to see here.
I do wonder why, since they asked him and he left, why when he comes barreling to it, then, hey, please leave. You know what I mean? He's already shown a willingness to leave. It's kind of their fault, really.
I think they should have shot him when he was barreling toward him.
Probably should have. I'm
okay with that.
That's the kind of security that's usually at a nuclear plant, a nuclear site.
I would think.
All right. So there's not a whole lot known to the story, at least as far as we can tell, unless this has been updated.
No, it hasn't.
He just decided he was driving into the place. I guess we could do like other people, Jack, and make up why he did it.
Sure.
Alan, thank you so much. Do we fall back tonight? I don't know. I run on computer time. Whatever time the computer tells me it is, that's what time it is. I don't pay attention to fall back and all. We have one clock in our house that we have to reset, Jack.
Yeah, I have one and the battery died, so haven't really got around to that one yet.
We have a wall clock that we set manually. All the other ones do it themselves. So yeah, I have no idea. Eagle says no, it's Saturday or so. Yeah, Saturday. I have no idea. I don't keep it. We need to get rid of daylight savings time. It's not useful anymore.
It's fucking dumb.
Split it down the middle and call it good. Pick the half hour in between. That works for me. I feel like the half hour in between would have worked the whole time. I don't know why anybody never picked that. It's a half an hour. It's not that much time.
I think we should just pick one and stick with it. I don't care which one, just stick with it. And we'll all work around it because who cares? We have electric lights now. We don't have to worry about fucking farm equipment as much. It's mostly automated and we don't have field hands as many. So, let's just pick a time.
I don't know why we had to change the time for farmers anyway. You know what I mean? They could have just reset their alarm. You know what I mean? Instead of resetting time for everybody, they just, have a different time. And then when they go into town, they're like, what time is it? It's 10. Okay.
I believe the correct answer to that question is time to get a watch.
True story. True. Or a cell phone. Because let's be honest, that's what most people use for the clock these days.
No, I don't want to see more people looking at their cell phones. See enough of that
shit. Moment, just for a split second. Doesn't take that long to check the time.
Nope, because they'll be like, while I'm here, I could play a video game.
Jordanian national has been arrested, Jack. Guess where he was arrested? Here in America.
Yeah.
That's the shocking. I know you could have answered that. You gave me this story.
I know, but it would have really detracted from my Ed McMahon role.
Jordanian national arrested in Houston, allegedly planned attack on Jews.
What? I'm shocked.
My guess is going to be that now we're going to have the White House come out with a commission to, make sure Jordanians are protected in the United States.
Well, yeah, because obviously this is Islamophobic.
Very Islamophobic. This is going to lead to Islamophobic attacks. Radical Jordanian national living in Texas was allegedly plotting an attack on Houston's Jewish community before he was arrested on gun charges. Sohib Yubashaba Shibidubidu, I don't care to say his name right. He's a fucking terrorist. Fuck him. 20, had been studying how to build bombs and posted about his support for killing Jews, federal officials claim. He has views specific and detailed content posted about or by radical organizations on the internet, including lessons on how to construct bombs or explosive devices. Chris Wray told the Senate, you know what? Now I'm thinking maybe this guy's innocent because Chris Wray's involved.
Look, Christopher Wray's a piece of garbage, but I think they may have stumbled on this one by accident. Maybe the guy went to a rally for stopping transgenderism in schools or something, and they just happened to stumble across this other thing, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you also wanted to do an attack."
Look, man, they've the FBI has kind of soured me on the FBI, if I'm being honest here. I want to believe them. I want to believe them that they're not just being douchebags and setting people up. But I don't know, man. This might be an innocent Jordanian is all I'm saying. If he's not, fuck him. I hope he rots in prison.
Yeah, I don't know. It looks like we have another birthday in the chat. But he said no song is needed, which that's a lie.
That is absolutely a lie. How dare you say that around here?
Yeah.
Before we get to that, though, real quick, Faithless says, they only went after him because he bragged about it. That could be it, too.
Yeah, they kind of had to at that point.
And what birthday did we have?
Stargazer told me it's right there.
Where? I don't see. Oh, there it is. Rick Ashbringer. It's your birthday. You don't want a song. So I'm going to sing this whole thing all the way through.
Yes, this is a non-consensual birthday song, Hate Camel.
This one is for you.
Whether you want it or not.
A 1 and a 2. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Rick Ashbringer. Happy birthday to you. I hope you have a really good day. I really do. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. I hope you have a good one. How dare you try to take a song away from me, sir? How dare you?
Well, I mean, you could try, but
How
it's
dare you?
kind of an unstoppable force around here.
Look, man. When people take the opportunity to tell you they're happy you were born, let them. There's plenty of people. Trust me. Go to Twitter. There's plenty of people who will tell you the opposite. All right, Jack. Our final story before we get to Mr. Ben Shapiro just absolutely obliterating our our English cousins. We got one more story. And this one's a big one. People need to pay attention to stuff like this.
Big throbbing one.
This is some dangerous stuff, Jack. Turns out the secret of the ooze is real.
Go ninja, go ninja, go! Oh,
Go
sorry.
ninja, go ninja, go.
Cowabunga, guys! There was green slime.
Let's have some pizza. New York City's green slime spotted bubbling up from underground. The surprise source revealed. By the way, it's actually not slime, it's water. That doesn't even look like slime. I'm a little offended that they called it that.
No. Slime comes down on your head when you say, I don't know. That is just science.
I love that became Nickelodeon's thing when they're ripping off. They just happen to be showing a Canadian kids show.
Yeah, they just kind of ran with it forever, and then the show never was aired again because it was moderately offensive or something, but they still kept the slime thing.
Oh man, they won't let me open that picture. This is my favorite picture from it. Let's see. Well, let me do it this way.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles one.
Yeah,
probably because we got the archive link.
Well, maybe was there a different one I clicked on? No, but you can see right there it's water. What it turns out to be, guys, is just that plumbers were looking for a leak and they put green dye in it to be able to find where the leak comes from.
Yeah, and it overflowed a little bit. That's all. It's pretty normal, actually, for this sort of thing to happen.
Yeah, if you see this in most cities, it's not something to worry about. If you're in San Francisco and this happens, leave.
Yeah, that's probably a venereal disease.
It is.
Come to life. It is supersized. It's not slime, it's ooze. Are there chuds in the sewer? Yes, but not related to this.
It's from the alligators. That's alligator urine. Seems to me they got a leak everywhere. Look how this is everywhere.
Yeah, it's a pretty big area that seems to have been affected by this. So there's probably a lot of leaks, and B, they put a little too much in.
They put way too much in, which tells me they have a massive leak somewhere they don't know about, or that they know about but they don't know where it's at.
That's possible. When I was reading, I was doing research on the mole people that live in this old abandoned subway stations and subway tunnels.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently there's a lot of plumbing and like underground work that was not mapped correctly over the 100 and some years of underground sanitation and construction. So they don't know where a lot of things are until they break.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So like they have to have a sinkhole or a big spout of water coming out because they don't always remember where the pipes are. And some of the pipes down there have literally been down there for over 100 years. So that there's still like old equipment running down there that they don't have on their maps. Good luck with that, New York.
Yeah, and for some reason it's just not letting me open the link from the archives. I was able to do it earlier, Jack. It just won't let me do it right now.
Not through the link in chat anyway. They can scroll.
Yeah, because that one picture there, there's another version of it where they actually have the turtle peeking out from under the manhole cover.
yeah.
But anyway, there's our news for the night. Go ahead.
Evolved asked me a question I want to address. Why is there steam coming out of the sewer? Because it's hot. That's something you probably don't know living in Australia, but when it gets really cold in New York, like it is now, steam will come out of there because it's methane. The poop is warm.
And a lot of times, especially as it gets even colder when it's like snowing and shit out, just the water alone, the fact that it's moving, it's cooler than the rest of the stuff, or warmer than the rest. You'll see people in New York, your homeless people sleeping on the heating grates, which is just over all that shit.
Yeah.
Lots of steam underneath New York.
But, I imagine that Australia doesn't really get as cold as New York. So
no,
if you're not from the States or a cold climate, you probably wouldn't know that. So just wanted to explain to the Aussies what that is.
Has Australia ever had snow?
I don't know. Have you guys ever had snow? I mean, I
I know
imagine there might be a mountain or something down there. I don't know. I don't know the topography of all of Australia, but
New York City uses steam for heating. Yep, yep.
so Maryland was getting farts blown up her dress. I mean, some of those
Kinda.
are vents, like air conditioning vents and heating ducts that are blowing out air, so it's not always poop, poop stench.
A ridiculous lunatic says methane is heavier than air, so X. That there you still have something called induction heating. You know
Yeah.
that the heat from that would heat the air around it, which just because the methane wouldn't rise out, it's still the stink comes.
Why are we talking about Australia as if it's a real place? That's a fair question, NBC. Apparently, Tasmania gets snow. I did not know that.
Uh, as my comment the other day, it's one of those general questions, but it's I don't live there, so I really don't care. You know what I mean?
Oh,
And I don't mean that mean. I don't care about the weather in Texas. I don't live there. I care about the weather here in fucking Michigan, which sucks right now. I was outside doing yard work today, and fuck, it's cold.
oh my God, we got snow on Halloween, and it only lasted till trick or treating was done.
Nice.
But we had like a quarter of an inch of snow blanketing everything. I felt so bad for those kids. But I didn't have my light on because I wasn't going to give them any of my candy. They can fuck right off.
Did you say? I don't even mean to talk about this fat fuck again. Boogie claims that he put out a bucket of candy and somebody stole the whole bucket, including the bucket itself.
Was it his belly?
And somebody asked him, like, why didn't you, hand out the candy? And he gives all these excuses, like sometimes you got to work. Nothing he was actually doing. He was just too lazy to hand out candy to the kids. And it's not like he couldn't sit outside if it's a little cold. He's fat as fuck. He could live in sub-zero climates without any problem. He's just lazy. And then somebody stole his candy. Well, that's what you get.
Yeah.
Sucks for all the other kids that you're a lazy fuck.
Was it Frank Hassel? Too
Look,
soon?
I know people, no, not at all. I know people who do that because they're taking their own kids out trick-or-treating. But if you're at home and you're just putting out a bucket out front, get your lazy ass out there and greet those kids and tell them how cool their costumes are. Fuck,
Yeah,
man.
you're just lazy. And Boogie's a piece of shit anyway. And I think the prime suspect in this theft was Boogie. So yeah, I think he maybe forgot he did it from like the sugar crash that inevitably happened afterward, or the diabetic coma. He has some sort of diabetes amnesia. But yeah, I call bullshit on that. I don't doubt that he's lazy enough to put a bucket of candy out and then somebody takes it. That's possible, I'm sure. What's more likely is he gorged on it, threw some empty wrappers in there and one or two real pieces, left that out there. Some asshole's like, "What is this shit?" and just took the bucket.
Took the bucket.
Well, this is my new trick or treat bag, asshole.
Yep. I think he was just too lazy to do it. He's like, I've seen this online. I'll do that. Dumbass. Anyway, Jack, we're here to talk about Ben Shapiro tonight.
Indeed, we are. Oh dear God! What
our man Ben Shapiro has been on an ass-kicking tour over in England, taking on some of the best minds of the young over there at Oxford and Cambridge. And fuck.
Best minds or most angry Hamas sympathizers?
Tomato. Well, the first one that we're going to watch has nothing to do with Hamas. So we should bring this up. Most of the discussion was about the conflict in Israel. And we're not going to watch all of both of these, Jack, because there's a lot of repetitive stuff in there.
Yeah.
The Cambridge video, I'm going to throw these both into chat real fast. The first one I'm throwing in is the Oxford one, but we're going to watch something from the Cambridge one first. Now, the Oxford video only has the Q&A. The Cambridge video has the speech that he gives beforehand and a little Q&A with the host before he gets up and takes questions from students. Now, I'm just going by clues from other questions that were asked. I'm pretty sure that the two discussions that he gave beforehand are the same, where he talks about sticking up for Western values and stuff. So I didn't go actually looking for the first part of the Oxford one. I'm almost positive they're the same thing. He's on a speech tour, so he's giving the same speech, and then he's letting people ask questions.
Yeah, I think he's got a book out or something.
Cirque, have a good night, my friend.
Later, man. Have a good one.
Now, I want to start with the abortion lady.
Okay.
Because, like I said, a lot of the other, if there's anyone in particular, there's only one other in particular, two others in particular that I know we're going to watch. We're going to watch the one that started it all with the clip from YouTube, but we're going to watch the full thing, or that was over on Twitter. I'm sorry. And then we're going to watch this really smug motherfucker.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Those are both from Oxford. So if there's any other ones that stood out to you, let me know. We'll watch them.
Well, the Oxford one was just a bunch of people jumping all over his shit for the whole Hamas thing.
Oh, yeah. Mostly was, yeah. There were a couple of... There is a third guy we're going to watch, but we're only going to watch him for about 15 seconds.
Yeah. Now, the Cambridge stuff, I thought that debate was much better. People were asking more intelligent questions and not trying to do as many gotchas. There were gotchas, obviously, but not as many. And that's why I'm glad that one was the complete one, because there were people just having actual conversations, except for that one lady that was like did the little cheap shot about the freeing Palestine to the sea comment.
There's another one in the Oxford one that's worth taking a look at, but I'm just not as interested in it. It's where he's talking about gay marriage. Somebody gets up there and asks him about that. And Ben explains that, the reason that governments should, if they're going to support marriage, if they're going to, acknowledge it, that the reason you're doing that is you're trying to help your population grow. So you give people certain, I don't want to say rights, but amenity kind of thing, a tax break here or survivor benefits, whatever, because what you're trying to do is build up the family so that you build up your country by building up your population. And the kid asked him, he goes, okay, so when your kids are all out of the house, are you going to divorce your wife? And the guy even says, look, I'm not trying a gotcha. He goes, I'm honestly curious. And Ben explains, and he gives a really good answer about it, where he says, just because the kids are out of the house doesn't mean I'm done in their lives and done raising them.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, it's true. And it is a really interesting part of the conversation. But I'm more interested in the shit bags, because, of course, those are the ones that are more fun to watch.
Well, yeah. I mean,
oh, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying you're not wrong.
Starting with our happy hooker here. I just want to stop here. I love her outfit. She wore this to a debate. She wore a hooker dress and knee-high white boots to a debate. I mean, that's a choice.
Yeah, I mean that's a thing, I guess. I don't know.
It's not what I would do, but fuck it. Sure, why not? I'm going to see Ben Shapiro. I'm gonna dress like a hooker. All right. Maybe Boogie will give me money. Sorry, sweetie, he's out. He can't take you to Disneyland now. Okay, so
Six Flags now.
Hi, Ben. Thank you for coming. I just wanted to ask, what is your view on the fact that bans on abortion do lead to about a 21% increase in pregnancy-related deaths, when you hold that your views on abortion and abortion bans are based in the fact that you have a desire to protect life and save lives because every human being is made in God's image?
All right. This is a bullshit question. And Ben we'll watch Ben's answer and everything, but it is such a bullshit question. Because the idea is not that nobody ever dies. The idea is that you're not purposefully killing people. If you're anti-abortion, chances are you believe that that's a life and you believe that you're killing somebody. People dying naturally from childbirth-related issues is not even close to the same fucking thing. Why are these kids so retarded?
Yeah, let's not even forget the fact that infant mortality rate and mother's fatality rate has dropped significantly in the last 200 years because we learned, hey, maybe we should do this in a sterile environment. Hey, maybe this is helpful. Maybe that's helpful. So yeah, there's not that many complications that actually put the mother at risk anymore.
And even, I mean, well, Ben gets to it, so we'll let him do the rest. But Luna, thank you. Only saying the vast majority of those gases is water vapor. If it was pure methane, it would be a massive fire hazard. Cheers, gents. Oh, absolutely, yeah. Somebody lights a cigarette on the street, and suddenly there goes all of New York. Fair point. Fair point. All right, so question
exactly, Faithless. The rare possibility of a bad reaction versus certain death of a baby.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I had a discussion with somebody the other day because this lady puts up the video that shows the difference in different Arab countries from the 70s to now and what the women look like. Where if you go back to the 70s and you see pictures from like Iran is one of the major ones.
Yeah.
The women look very westernized. And then you see them today and they got their beekeeper suits on.
Yep. And the CIA is to blame for that one, for overthrowing the Shah.
And I made a joke about the fact that, but it's the Christians and making them wear red robes and white hoods. It's the problem. And this lady told me that, the Christians, they're going out there and they're trying to take all these rights away from women. All right, name one right besides abortion, because you're just wrong on that.
It's not right.
And you know what? You know, she came back with abortion.
Yep. Well, if it isn't the consequences of my own action, time to get a vacuum cleaner.
Yeah, exactly. These kids have been so indoctrinated to this nonsense that they have no critical thinking skills at all. This chick is literally comparing the purposeful ending of a pregnancy, which a lot of people believe is ending a life, to complications.
Yeah.
And notice a 20% increase in the mortality of mothers. All right, what does that actually turn into? What is the mortality? What is the maternal mortality rate? Is it even 5%? I wonder what it is in the U.S. right now. I haven't looked this one up in a while.
I'm looking it up right now. 32.9 deaths per 100,000 live births.
So let's see. That is 0.3%. So an increase of 20% would be 0.06.
According to Fortune magazine, pregnant women are not receiving the appropriate level of medical care. That's the reason for the disparity.
Ministry of Wrong Thing, thank you. Didn't you know people die involuntarily in car crashes? Therefore, getting a driver's license is just as evil as abortion or something. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And you know what? People run with scissors, too.
Play the clip, please. Relax. We'll get there. If you're looking to watch this uninterrupted, just click the link I put in way earlier in the chats. Because that's not how we do it over here. We're not like those pussies at EFAP that actually watch stuff without commenting for 10 seconds.
Oh, man. I don't know how EFAP does it so long without commenting.
I know, man. Anyway, look, the hooker has a question and chat wants to hear Ben's reaction. So here we go.
Pig Riser's response was, I'm relaxed.
All right, here we go.
Because I think we're going to have a fundamental disconnect here. The entire abortion debate is centered on whether indeed an unborn child or a human life with potential is in fact that, or if it is just a ball of cells. If you believe that there is inherent value to a fetus, then I am seeking to preserve that life as well as the life of the mother. If you look at the raw numbers in terms of, for example, in the United States, 1 million abortions a year, let's assume that laws banning abortion in the United States were universal, those 1 million abortions go away tomorrow. That's an effective law. The abortions go away, but there's also a concomitant increase in the number of women who are seeking back alley abortions, for example. There's a concomitant increase in the number of women who are dying in pregnancy-related childbirth. That would not be 1 million. That would be a lot lower than 1 million, because 1 million women out of 1 million women, that would suggest that 1 million abortions would, if brought to term, 1 million of those women would die. That's obviously.
Yeah, what he's getting at there is, I hate her response to this. And Ben, in my opinion, kind of drops the ball here, and we'll get to that in a second. But all he's pointing out is, okay, even if there's this 20% increase in the number of women who die, there's still, on average, you're saving probably 955,000 lives. That if you're going to try to compare those two, and this is the problem with the other side, where they get so, don't you care about all life? Yeah, but there's a difference from a chick who goes and gets herself killed because she threw herself down a flight of stairs to get rid of a baby, and a baby who did nothing getting vacuumed out of his mother.
Yeah.
There's a huge difference there.
Yeah, but they get caught up in their emotional argument, and they don't really have anything to counter his point. By the way, I'm Crunch and Munch.
I'm going to correct you. It's not even just an emotional argument. They think they are so fucking smart. It's all these gotcha. I gotcha. You like life,
toffee.
Don't you?
It's buttery toffee. Crunch and Munch.
Get some Cracker Jacks. At least you get a half of a prize in there sometimes.
Their prizes are horrible now. Like
I'm not the biggest fan of. I'm not the biggest fan of either of them. They need more peanuts in them.
That's why I got Crunch and Munch.
Obviously not true. So for me, an abortion prevented is a life saved, and you have to weigh that against what you're talking about, which is the life of the mother when it comes to a pregnancy. Now, even as
no. See, this is where I think it gets it. You do not have to weigh that against the life of a mother. If you're talking about a serious complication, a ectopic pregnancy or something like that, that's going to kill the mom, fine. But that's not what we're talking about here. And this is not a question of the numbers. And it's why I don't like him playing the game that he played here. It's not that. If you think that is a person, then the only thing that matters is you are purposefully killing somebody. You're purposefully killing somebody.
As a fan of pro-life position, and I'm a deeply pro-life person, I still have an exception for the life of the mother. So if the life of the mother is endangered by a pregnancy, then abortion would be legal. That's true for every pro-lifer in the United States, by the way, including the most pro-life people, including me. So, I think that in order to make the argument that you're making, you would have to assume that there is no cost to abortion remaining legal in terms of lives lost.
Okay, so you're doing it on a utilitarian basis.
I'm doing it on a lives saved basis, yes.
Well, yeah. So
and see, that's why I don't like his argument, because the utilitarian argument is not the one that's important here. Even if it evened out completely, Jack, right? Even if 1 million women who were going to have these babies and for some reason that we couldn't foresee in advance, because again, life of the exception, which pretty much most people agree with, you take those off the table. So it would have to be unexpected, right? Even if all of them died, it's better than purposefully murdering a baby. And I don't understand why people don't get that.
Yeah, but I mean, how many of these women have feminine penises too, forcing C-sections? There's a lot of questions I have about this.
A utilitarian basis, right? So then if you look at comprehensive sex education, which the US does not have, a lot of people in rural areas don't have any form of sex education. You yourself have said.
Sure they do. They grow up on farms.
Yeah, rural areas, they all know how reproduction works because they're watching the animals bang constantly.
Yep. And I quote, on a general level, I don't think that teachers should be talking about sex in the classroom with kids at all at any age. It's shown that comprehensive and...
All right, stop.
Have you seen our teachers, lady?
When he's talking about that, he's talking about, the kind of shit we've talked about where they're like, this is how you have butthole sex. This is what a rim job is. This is what scat porn is.
Do you like gladiator movies, Billy?
Right. You ever seen a grown man naked? All right.
and correct sex education reduces rates of abortion and teen pregnancy. So then if your goal is to save lives, why do you not support comprehensive sex education?
Because
it seems like your goal is something else.
No.
By the way, she gets to that something else in a little bit. Somebody just, I can't say because we're online.
Because these, first of all, I would like to see the studies that you're citing in support of that.
So that study
idea.
is the University of Washington.
Okay,
study.
and there are plenty of other studies in the United States that suggest essentially no difference in, for example, unwed pregnancy in the United States.
Can I have those studies?
What can you have them? You can look at the pregnancy rates in California, New York, Massachusetts.
I just gave you my reference.
I mean, I'm happy to email you references if you so choose. But to say.
And I love that, she with this study, and he points to 3 states you can actually look at. And it is a little unfair to expect Ben to know every study. Can I have that study?
Yeah,
and he does that
cell phone, and he's got nothing there. What
exactly?
Expect him to be able to cite that. I mean, you're asking him a plethora of different categories,
and him saying there's studies that show the opposite. And he does. I'll email them to you. But you can just look at the places that have the most, what they would call comprehensive reform. Are abortions down from that? Is teen pregnancy down from that? And no, when you abort them, it doesn't mean teen pregnancy is down. It means you had a pregnancy that you guys killed. And Ben's about to make a point here. Hang on.
I mean, this does happen to be a topic where there is social science on both sides. I'm not saying that the study that you're citing isn't valid. I'm just suggesting that there is a difference in data methods, and I'm suggesting that the single motherhood rates in the West with comprehensive sex education are miles higher than they were in, say, the 1950s when there was not comprehensive sex education.
Excellent point, and this is the real issue, Jack. We didn't have runaway problems with teen sex until the sexual revolution. That's where we start having all these teen pregnancy things, because it used to be a shameful thing. Yep.
They took the shame out of it and started putting them on welfare.
Yep. And they're like, no, all we need is to educate them. Or we're like, that's not something you're supposed to be doing. You're a child. Stop it.
Even when we were young, for example, there was a really cute girl in my class that got pregnant. They sent her down to another state because they were so ashamed of her.
Mm-hmm. But not anymore, man. Now it's like, oh, look at this brave single mom.
Yeah, all the single ladies.
She's doing the look, Jay. Me and Lady Monkey, we got pregnant in high school, and there's nothing glamorous about it. Nothing that should be celebrated. Nothing that 16 and pregnant became a thing for people to get famous off of on MTV. When it first started out, that show was like, look how awful this is. And by the end of it, like, look at this whore. She's so cool. You should be like this whore. Because we have a weird morality system in the West right now where there is nothing we won't celebrate.
Yeah. Well, I remember the story with the high school girls that were in a pact to all get pregnant at the same time.
Yep.
And a lot of them were trying to get on these shows, and it's fucking disgusting.
16 and pregnant lowered teen births, though. There's some evidence that when it was first starting out, by the end, how was it looking?
So obviously that has not militated against the amount of unwed pregnancy happening in society. So the idea that the cure-all here is comprehensive sex ed, if you could prove to me, let's put it this way, if you could prove to me that comprehensive sex ed did result in lower levels of abortion, lower levels of unwed pregnancy, and that it was values neutral, comprehensive.
Real quick, let me get this before it pops off. Thank you, Ministry of Wrong Thing. How does teaching kids sex at an earlier age decrease the rate of them having sex? Wouldn't it just make the curious buggers go at it even more? I genuinely don't understand the logic. Well, it depends on how you're teaching them. And the reason I wanted to get to your question first is let's get his whole answer here.
The single motherhood rates in the West with comprehensive sex education are miles higher than they were in, say, the 1950s when there was not comprehensive sex education. So obviously that has not militated against the amount of unwed pregnancy happening in society. So the idea that the cure-all here is comprehensive sex ed, if you could prove to me, let's put it this way, if you could prove to me that comprehensive sex ed did result in lower levels of abortion, lower levels of unwed pregnancy, and that it was values neutral, comprehensive sex ed, in the sense that what it was actually teaching is, here is how to prevent a pregnancy without ending it in abortion, then I actually don't have a huge problem with that. It depends on the age at which you're teaching kids. There are other issues that I have with comprehensive sex ed, including the fact that what is taught is not the simple biology of sex and how to prevent a pregnancy. Comprehensive sex ed simply goes a lot further than that, and I have serious moral problems with that.
And that's the point right there is when I was in sex ed, Jack, that's literally all they taught us. These are the organs. These are how they work. These are the diseases you can get. It leads to pregnancy. You know how the human sex reproduction system works. That's what we were taught. And he uses that term value neutral. Value neutral, meaning just the facts. And that's how, if you're going to teach it, that's how it needs to be taught. Instead, what is taught is, hey, this is how you take it up the butt, Billy. I mean, we've literally gotten to a place where they're teaching kids how to have sex. Not just what sex is, but literally teaching them how to do it. Which that's a little different. See, they love that word comprehensive because that means all inclusive. It's really informative. Well, the kind of stuff that the kids need to learn is not that deep. And what they end up doing with that is actually teaching things like methodology rather than biology. They will literally teach, hey, you can't get pregnant from a blowjob, so why don't you guys do that instead? That's actually taught in some places. Do you remember the one chick who wanted to teach, what was it, fourth graders it was okay to masturbate? What was her name? She worked for, was that a Bush or a Clinton person? I can't remember. I want to say Clinton.
It could have been either one.
They wanted to teach masturbation in elementary school.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Was that Jocelyn Elders?
It might have been. It might have been.
That sounds like something that crazy old lady would say.
It'll keep them from having sex.
Oh, we're at the hour mark, so this is a good time to remind everybody we are brought to you by you. If you're enjoying the show, please hit the like button, share it on your social media, subscribe if you haven't, and if you're feeling generous, you can toss us a couple bucks at the Streamlabs links going through the chat and at the bottom of the chat and pinned at the top of the YouTube chat.
Young geezer with laughing emoji says best teachers push for anal. That might sound like a joke, but they are pushing that on kids. Like, hey, you can't get pregnant in the butt. And you'll find that. I don't know if they've done it in schools yet, but you will find it in magazines. Teen Vogue had 2 or 3 different articles telling young girls how to take it up the butt so they don't get pregnant.
Probably written by their stepdads.
It seems like you're just trying to force women into motherhood, not save lives.
Oh, stunning and brave right there. Cheap shot as you go.
Why didn't you? She said earlier, it seems like you have ulterior motives. Why didn't you say that then, you snide little bitch? It seems like you just want women to be forced to be pregnant. All right. I'm so tired of this forced pregnancy shit because a woman gets pregnant on her own with her own fucking choices. And then it's me forcing her to be pregnant because she got that way. I had nothing to fucking do with it.
Yeah.
Telling her she has to live with the consequences of her actions is not me forcing her to be pregnant. That's biology doing it.
Yeah. That's the problem, is a lack of taking responsibility, though. I don't want to take responsibility for my actions. Ergo, you're forcing this on me. Fuck you.
It is a false equivalency, and stop it. But let's see what Ben has to say, because she does this snide shit. Apparently they had some rule, and I don't know if they actually said it out loud or if they told the guys beforehand, but like you only get like 2 questions. There's a limited time for each of these.
Yeah.
So they'd taken the microphone away from her. And there's a little guy over here who sneaks in and steals the microphone from people after a certain time.
Yeah, he's a little microphone thief.
He is. He's like that chick who worked for Trump who tried to take the mic from Acosta.
Which,
remember her?
That was heroic of her.
It was, and he like pushes her around, and everybody's like, "What? He didn't do nothing." He elbowed that chick.
I'm surprised he didn't bite her, because there's two things Acosta loves: cameras and mirrors.
Yeah.
She took half of the camera away from him, because it's not just his pretty face; it's his flowery voice too.
All right, so Hooker's done. She's had her little snide remark, and here's Ben.
And
Oh, yeah, clap.
I mean, just to respond briefly to that, I'm confused as to the very language of forcing women into motherhood suggests that in the vast majority of cases in which women get pregnant, they had no part in the actual pregnancy making act, which is not true.
True.
I've done nothing. When you get,
Wait.
if you are,
Okay, so the audience right here, you had all the people clap for her stupid ass comment, and he just pointed out most of the time, despite all the crap about rape culture and all that, most of the time chicks get pregnant by an overwhelming percentage. It's because they had sex willingly and got pregnant.
All sex is rape. Andrea Dworkin taught us this.
Yes, she did. She did. But anyway.
or any of your friends get pregnant, that is generally not having anything to do with me per se. So I'm confused as to why I would want you to force anything.
And then they finally clap because they're like, oh yeah, Ben was right. Was there anybody else in this one that you wanted to watch?
No, I think that chick was probably the best one. The others are just kind of normal debate stuff.
Yeah,
the
I
Oxford
think
one is the interesting.
Oh yeah, I got it queued.
One.
I think this guy's the one who asked about gay marriage. So if you guys are interested in this one, I'll toss it into chat. It's just over an hour long or something like that.
Yeah, it's worth watching. It's a good debate.
So there you go for that, guys. No, that's what. Okay, I just shared the thing for our stream instead. Again, guys, if you guys try jumping in here, it does not work for you. There's the one you want.
Yeah, this is there's only a couple of people that do the Gaza stuff on this one, Oxford one. I'm sorry, on the Cambridge one.
Yeah,
and they're not as interesting as the Oxford one, where they're just kind of assholes to him.
The first guy who gets up asks a question about Gaza, and there's actually a decent back and forth there. He still gets schooled by Ben because he's uneducated, as most of these kids are when it comes to this stuff.
Yeah.
But as you said, the more fun one is the Oxford one, which is this one here. And let me toss this one in the chat. Grab it for later if you guys want to watch it, because I'll probably forget to drop it in chat at the end again. Now, Jack, I'm pretty sure. Oh God, I had this queued and I must have went back. No, not that one, not that one. This one. All right. So again, both of them start out the same way. This one doesn't have the Q or the discussion at the beginning, so you'll have to look that up if you want to see it. The Oxford version of it. I'm fairly certain it's the same speech he gives at the Cambridge one. Dude,
that looks like he's on trial right there.
Well, he kind of is.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. They were mad at little Beanie Man.
They came with sharpened knives for old Ben here. I'm surprised nobody went. But well, so
it is Britain. That might happen.
It could. Can't have guns, but oh, you know what? There's a question in the Cambridge one.
Debate.
Yeah, or was that in this one?
I don't remember. They kind of blurred together by the end of it. The Oxford one is a little bit more fiery, though.
When it comes to the gun debate, I do think Ben drops the ball a little bit, because he goes into talking about, American culture, because this kid's asking about, guns in America and the death that it causes. And do you think, he asked me at one point, do you think you guys need to try to change gun culture in America?
No, it's awesome.
Yeah, there's no reason to change gun culture in America. Just because there's violent, horrible people out there doesn't mean that guns are the problem.
Yeah, whenever British people start bitching about our gun culture, I keep thinking, you're just looking to reinvade, you assholes. Third time's a charm. But also, it's a totally different culture than the British mindset. We are not the same people. We're awesome. You guys have bad teeth.
It was the other debate because I'm remembering it in my head now. Because the guy even asked, "What do you think about the British knife laws?" Here's because Ben he almost does it as the and you and I've talked about this before. You can't compare America to other countries and stuff.
Yeah,
and you have Britain get rid of their guns, and they're like, "See, we're going to make it all safe." And what they have to do then they had to start getting rid of knives. And the guy even says this line. He says, "We're getting rid of these knives because there's no reason for people to be carrying those around."
You'd be
Well,
surprised how often a knife comes in handy.
How far along do you go? Okay, ban the knives. Then what's next?
Forks,
spoons. You can kill somebody with a spoon if you're dedicated.
Oh, absolutely. It'll just take a little while longer.
Fuck, you can sharpen a spoon.
Yeah,
they do it in prisons. You can do it with a stylus. You can hurt people in all kinds of ways. And the point being, like, okay, we got rid of the guns. Look, we're safe. Oh shit, all these knives. Now what? It's never going to end. You cannot get rid of bad people by getting rid of the instruments of their evil.
Yeah.
They're still going to be bad.
Yeah. Also, they're a mostly homogenous country. And the country is not that big. The UK is what, the size of New England?
Mm-hmm.
It's not that geographically large. We are a huge country with a lot of. You go to any state and it's going to be a little different than the one next to it. By the time you get from Virginia to Texas, you've got a totally different mindset. They call all pop Cokes. And what kind of Coke do you want? I don't know, cherry. Cherry what? Cherry Coke, retard. Oh, you don't want a Mountain Dew? That's not a Coke. Anyway, there's different perceptions on things throughout the country because it's such a large place. We have a lot more people than they do with a lot of different backgrounds and cultures. And I don't think it's a fair comparison.
I mean, I don't even think it's a size thing. I think England could have guns. The fact that they got rid of them and their crime is, oh shit, now we have this major problem with knifing, shows you that the gun isn't the issue. It's not a culture issue in the fact of guns versus knives versus kung fu or whatever the fuck you want to have. It's a problem with people acting badly, and you're just not going to get rid of that.
Yeah, and he's right. There are too many guns for a gun grab to be even remotely successful.
I don't think that's true. I honestly don't, because I think most gun owners are law-abiding citizens, and as much talk as there is about from my cold dead hand, I don't think there's that many people that are on board with that actual logic anymore.
Oh, I meant criminals. They're going to have a lot of guns.
Well, what they'll do is they'll take it away from all the law-abiding citizens, and then when they catch criminals with them, they'll sell them to Mexico. I'm just saying. That's what we did last time. All right. Anyway, so this chick says one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my life.
Hang on. Thank you, Mr. Scott. Howdy. Glad to be back with the old chat. It's good to have you back, Mr. Scott. The rate of debilitating injuries like TBIs from violence is a lot higher in the UK with no equalizer. The little guy gets hurt bad. Oh, yeah. You get a lot more bludgeonings and, head trauma from stuff like that. You ever been hit with a cricket bat? I would not want to take one of those to the head. Oh my God, no. So yeah, you're going to get a lot more injuries like that. I mean, they don't like to talk about that though.
No, because they blame the gun. The gun is the issue because they're retards. Because these are the same people who looks at Kyle Rittenhouse getting hit with a skateboard and like, that's not a deadly weapon, despite the fact there's actually been people killed by being hit in the head with a skateboard.
Yeah, wasn't it like a day later after he said that somebody got hit with got put in the hospital for being hit with a skateboard?
Yeah. All right. Anyway, here we go.
It was the member behind you. It was the member at the very back. Yep. I'll come to you after.
I do want to get to the end too, because I have a few that I had thought about. I forgot about her question at the end. This dirty little bitch. She coming off all sweet and I'm the moderator here. Oh. But this chick.
Hi. If Israel is justified in killing civilians because of the acts of terror committed by Hamas, why isn't Hamas justified in doing what it did? Because Israel is keeping 13,000 children. It has tried them in military courts. Since the establishment of Israel, 55,000 Palestinian homes have been bulldozed. So why isn't Hamas justified in doing what it did if we use your logic?
Before we get to his answer, it's another one of those false equivalencies. Why are they justified in killing civilians? Which again, that is such a misnomer. That is such a bullshit statement. But then she goes on, children, these children who've been tried in military courts. You mean the teenagers who are part of Hamas who've been caught and put on trial, and then the children whose homes have been bulldozed, not with them in it, fucker.
Yeah,
You're talking about them murdering people, and you're comparing it to even if we're being as generous as possible to you, them being made homeless.
yeah. That's being homeless is a lot different than being, I don't know, raped to death.
Or dead in general.
Yeah.
Hang on, I got a couple of donations here from Ben Shapiro. The first one, thank you. There's some whores in this house. 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 A certified P word. Make that pull-out game weak. And thank you again, Ben Shapiro. You messing with some wet ass P word. Bring a bucket and a mop for this wet ass P word. Give me everything you got for this wet ass P word. Beat it up N word. Catch a charge, extra large and extra hard. Put this P word in your face. Swipe your nose like a credit card. You got to go watch Ben. Me reading how Ben read it just doesn't come off the same. But I appreciate the donations. Thank you so much.
I think you did a beautiful job.
It's not as good as his because he's got that slight whine to his voice, which just really sells it.
Kind of does, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So how come it's okay for Israel to, kill civilians when homes got bulldozed and terrorists were put on trial?
So I'm going to answer your question, then I'm going to ask you a question if you don't mind. Is that all right? So so my answer is that Israel would not be justified in killing Palestinian civilians because of the actions of terrorists. Israel would be justified in attempting to kill terrorists, and civilian casualties are a cost of war.
Thank you. This is something that you cannot get through to these fucking people. Nobody's saying, hey, Israel, just go kill a bunch of civilians. But if the Palestinians are set up with their little bombs right next to kids and they blow up those bombs and the kids get blown up, yes, that is just a casualty of war. And it sucks for them. But the people to blame are not the Israelis. That is still the Palestinians' fault. And it's a fucking war crime. Not what the Israelis did, but what the Palestinians are doing. Everybody, it's against the Geneva Convention. No, look that up because you guys have it entirely wrong. It would be absolutely against the Geneva Convention to just target civilians for reasons we'll get to in a little bit. But when it comes to hiding behind civilians, that's against the Geneva Conventions. Hamas is the one breaking the rules of war and committing war crimes, you fucking retards.
What, you mean party goers that are rave for peace?
No, not even that.
Aren't soldiers?
I'm talking about them hiding behind schools and church. They blew up a church. Yeah, what was right next to that church? What else did they blow up? What caused that damage?
Magic.
The Hamas hides behind human shields and then runs to the world like, look how the Israelis killed these when they killed us. Anyway.
That is just a reality of life. During World War II, there were 70,000 Brits who died during the Blitz bombing, and there were 2 million Germans who died, civilians who died during World War II. And I don't see a lot of monuments in Britain because of the 2 million civilians who died in Germany. The costs of war are brutal. They're terrible. They're horrifying. There's a vast difference in moral scope between deliberately going into a civilian area and murdering everyone you can find and trying to kill a terrorist who is deliberately hiding beneath a civilian area, hiding their rockets in civilian areas, starving their own people. There is a vast difference. Okay, so let me, now I get to ask my.
Exactly. And they'll make justifications for what Hamas is doing. But you killed. He actually argues with one person who keeps going. But the civilians.
Mm-hmm. They can't get past that point.
No, because it's done that way. It's why Hamas does it, because they know fucking retards in the West are going to go, but civilians. It sucks for them. It does, and I think it's horrible that they're losing their lives, but it's not Israel's fault. All right.
My question, if you don't mind. So my question is, do you believe that there is a moral difference between Hamas going into, for example, Kfar Aza and murdering entire families, and Israel attempting to target terrorists and accidentally hitting civilians?
Israel is effectively doing the same because Gaza is the most densely populated region in the world. There are 15,000 people per square mile.
So does Hamas get
Over
immunity
half of
because
the
they're there? So
population's
Hamas gets
children.
immunity. So
Israel has killed 3,500 children in the past 3 weeks. That's more children. That's more children than have died in conflicts around the world in each of the last 4 years.
So just to be clear, your logic is that if you're a terrorist group located in a densely populated community, you hide behind civilians, you are now immune.
Where are the children meant to go?
So you're immune.
Answer the question. Answer the fucking question.
No, talk louder. That makes your point more true.
There's 3,000. But did you see there's 3,000 kids that have been killed. One, bullshit. Bullshit. You are taking the numbers of a terrorist organization. Please understand that. When you're talking about the number of Palestinians that have been killed through this, that comes from Hamas. The people. I like how Ben says it. I can't quite do it because he's got that Hebrew upbringing where he goes, Hamas. I can't do it.
I don't have enough phlegm for that.
Yeah, but the people who are hiding behind the children so that if children die, they can run to the media and say, look, these children were killed. They're the ones giving that number. They're the same ones who told you 500 people died in a parking lot where there was, 20 cars at most?
Yeah. Also, I'd like to point out that she's wrong about the most densely populated area. That's Manila.
She's talking about in that area, in Gaza.
Oh, no. She said the most densely populated city. That's Manila. Baghdad is next on the list, by the way, if we don't count Manila's suburbs, which are also the next two most densely populated.
All right. So by her logic, and she's not the only one who says this. I think this might even come up in the next guy we're going to watch. But basically, hey, as long as you're hiding in densely populated areas, terrorists can run free.
Yes.
Can't get them.
The other woman wearing the hijab, like two people from now, says something similar, I think.
I think the one at the beginning does too. Because it starts with a chick and then a guy comes up. But anyway, let's get, this is the intro. Oh, Jack, I was not ready for this part.
Yeah.
This is the part that you and I were introduced to this whole thing through.
Oh my God, it's so dumb. The historical literacy is shocking. I'm a fucking idiot. And I graduated, 1992? And I remember fucking facts about World War II that I learned then. Come on. What are they teaching people?
Okay. That's a violation of the Geneva Conventions, but okay. You're now immune. Your logic is that if you're a Hamas terrorist...
Sorry, since 2005, 23 out of every 24 conflict deaths have been Palestinian. I don't see any moral equivalency there. It's clearly unjust what the IDF has been doing to the Palestinians because there's a vast disparity between the number of Palestinians being killed and the number of Israelis.
I mean, I would certainly hope that Israel is killing more Hamas
This isn't
members.
a conflict.
Wait, okay. You just told us that they're hiding in the most densely populated area, and you're shocked that more of them are dying. And again, those are based off the lies of. Do you realize that the Palestinian population has gone up like 5 times in the last 20 years? It's like 5 times as high as it was 20 years ago or 30 years ago or something like that. For all of these deaths that the Israelis keep doing, this is the worst fucking genocide in history. Like, how the fuck you have a genocide and the population is quintupled?
Yeah, that doesn't make a lot of sense. That I don't know.
Since 48, thank you, Matt. So in a almost a century, it's gone up. It's quintupled in a century. And for the record, it's risen faster, and it's just how populations work. The more people you have, as long as they're breeding, the more people you're going to have. The rise of this, if you look at the graph, it's at about I want to say 2000 that it just starts really climbing almost straight up, which is odd for all the dead kids.
Kind of weird that, yeah.
It really is. It really is.
This isn't a conflict. This is one-sided ethnic cleansing.
Again, I'm just
Ethnic cleansing. Their population has quintupled since the beginning of the Israeli state.
Maybe she meant that they're ethnically cleansing the Jews.
asking you, if based on the numbers, more Germans died than Brits in World War II, did that mean that the British were wrong in World War II? Because they did. Many more Germans died than Brits. Based on the numbers, does that mean that Britain was wrong in World War II?
Britain wasn't bombing civilians.
Here's where we get the thumbnail. Britain wasn't bombing civilians in World War II.
Coughs in Dresden.
What?
I love that look on his face right there. Excuse me, Miss Historically Illiterate.
There's a clear
you should talk to the people in Dresden, but you can't because they're dead.
There's a clear.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure we got his, because the clip that's going around Twitter cuts that part off, and they really should have kept it in there for the historically illiterate. You mentioned Dresden too.
And I hadn't watched this yet then.
Yeah, you hadn't. Yeah. And I know that because me and him were talking about it. You immediately responded to that when I reposted it. And I hadn't even watched this, and I know you hadn't. So just, history.
Yeah, like I said, we learned about that in high school, like 10th grade.
It's not like the Dresden bombings are some obscure thing out there. We bombed and I say we because it was the British and British and Americans. Something like was it a full more than 1,000 flights that were done with bomb drops over
something ridiculous like that.
A really short period. Something like was it 2 million people killed?
I'd have to look it up. That sounds like it's in the ballpark.
We blew them up and set them up.
Was annihilated.
Yeah, we blew up the city and set it on fire.
Yeah, the incendiary bombs, which was arguably almost as bad as what we did to Tokyo when we napalmed that fucker, firebombed the shit out of the entire city. We killed more people in Tokyo than we did in Nagasaki and Hiroshima.
Yep.
So, although Tokyo is spatially larger, so.
Well, it was. We were also more. We dropped a bomb on Hiroshima, a bomb on Nagasaki. We bombed the fuck out of Tokyo, and just like we did in Dresden, firebombed the place too.
Yeah, because most of the buildings were made of wood.
Yep.
To be fair, we didn't just drop a bomb. We dropped a small sun on Nagasaki and Hiroshima.
But when what we did to Tokyo is we took out their water towers and then set the place on fire.
Yeah. We did similar stuff in Korea too, because that wasn't really frowned on yet.
What really annoyed me about this is she's in England.
She should actually know a little bit about English history, especially during World War II. It's kind of a big deal over there.
And Dresden, while what happened in Tokyo was us, Dresden was us and the Brits, mostly led by the Brits. They weren't killed. And this happened everywhere during World War II. It's one of the reasons for the Geneva Convention. Mm-hmm. It's one of the reasons that's a rule of war now.
Yeah, well, to be fair, the Germans did start it with the blitzes.
They did.
So turnabout's fair play, and they got the shorter end of that because they didn't have as much oil.
It's war, man, and the people who win the war get to decide what the rules for the next war are, and if they win again, then they can hold people responsible. Otherwise, the other side gets to decide. Yeah.
And look, war is brutal, and people don't follow rules most of the time.
Nope.
I guarantee you, if the Chinese came in and just massacred everybody in an American city, we would do it right back to them. unless we plan on losing.
It's like, they weren't bombing civilians. His face. I laughed so fucking hard.
Oh my god. What a
Bitch said,
pathetic
"What?"
fucking response on her part. Like, you're talking to Ben Shapiro and you're trying to look smart by saying they were targeting civilians.
When the entire place went, boo. I lost it. Anyway, she's got a little bit more to say here, Jack.
A difference. Well, I agree that war is horrible, but this is not a just war. What Israel is doing is not a just war. There is a difference between fighting the Nazis.
So it's not a just war.
It's a difference between fighting the Nazis. You know those people who were trying to kill the Jews? That was just. But since these people wear a little towel on their head like I do, this isn't just because they killed a whole bunch of people.
Yeah, just because they're funded by people that were friends with the Nazis.
Right.
Who took the name in Farsi that means Aryan. You're right. You're right.
Not just took this, they worked with the Nazis.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They were collaborators. They have a lot in common, shockingly. Both
A defensive
like
war is not a just war. Evolved Potato at the end of the hold that thought. Hold that thought.
Fighting the Nazis.
It is not a just war when you fight a war against people who murder 1,500 of your civilians and take 233 of them, at last count, captive into tunnels. It is not a just war to obliterate them. Please name a just war.
Israel's been killing civilians for the past 75 years, and there was no headlines about it, and nobody said that the Palestinians were
Israel
justified
does not
in
purposefully kill
retaliating.
Civilians. Palestinian terrorists do.
Israel has not
If
purposefully
Israel
killed
put down its
civilians. Are
guns
you willing
tomorrow,
to
there would
stand
be
by that
if
statement?
Israel put down its guns tomorrow, there would be a second Holocaust. If the Palestinians put down their guns tomorrow, there'd be a Palestinian state.
True story.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with him because I think the Israelis are just tired of this shit.
They are. And he's absolutely right. If you disarm the Israelis, the Palestinians will get rid of the Jews in Israel. If you disarm the Palestinians, everybody can start living life. And I'm not saying disarm the Palestinians, but because I believe everybody should have guns, Jack. If you want to have a gun, you should have a gun. However, in talking about this, the point being, one of them wants to eradicate the other side, and it's not the Jews.
Yeah, there's a lot of Arabs that live in Israel and they fight with the IDF. There's a lot of Christians there.
Yeah.
This is such a bullshit argument. She's just, we're the goodies, you're the baddies.
You know what you're not going to find in Gaza?
Jews.
One of these actually is pushing for an ethno state.
Yeah.
And it's not the Jews.
That is the reality. And let me ask you this.
Not be a Palestinian.
I'm going to ask you. I'm just going to ask you the last question. The same question I asked her. Which part of Palestine is occupied?
The entirety of Palestine, but I'm not calling for the destruction of Jews.
I appreciate you expressing your full genocidal intent for the Jewish people living between the rivers.
Why is it genocidal to call for a state that is not apartheid? You can have a state where all citizens have equal rights, Jews and Muslims.
I'm sure that's going to go amazingly under the same people who are governing the Gaza Strip, where currently 0 Jews live.
The time. Can we move on to the next question, please?
No, you should have let them keep arguing. Let that idiot make more of an idiot of herself.
Yeah, because she has no idea what she's talking about. She's just repeating talking points.
75 years, most incompetent eradication ever. You're right, Dangerous. That, like I said, their population is going up. It's increasing exponentially. But they kill all the civilians. No, they don't. That is a lie being pushed in the West because the Palestinians understand the same thing that any good propagandist machine understands. Target the young because they're stupid.
Yep.
Target the young. These kids don't know shit, which, by the way, Jack, leads us to probably the most infuriating guy. Is he the next one up? Oh, look at that. He is. So we don't even have to jump ahead. This guy, this piece of shit. Before we move on, is there anything else you want to say about the dumb shit she said?
No, I think she's an idiot. And a lot of these people were just trying to catch him. Like, it was supposed to be a gotcha. And they wanted to shout at a Jew. that
Yes.
seem to be the entirety of it. They're like, you're bad because you're a supporter of Israel. Well, yeah, okay.
Mofo says, again, people are retarded. I hear you, but in fairness to these kids, and I hate being fair to these kids because they are ridiculously stupid. They're ignorant because they're being taught to be ignorant. They are indoctrinated and stupid. They are being lied to. It's being pushed. There's a reason history is being removed from your schools and why it's being rewritten. Why? Look, yes, Jack, there are some things that have happened in America that have been whitewashed for a long time, and it's fine to talk about them. But that doesn't mean that all we should talk about is that.
No, you can't dwell on the mistakes of the past. You learn from them and be better.
Yeah.
But they're taking all the wrong messages
Mhm.
from and hyper focusing on it. It's sort of like a bad breakup. To use a very simplistic analogy, we all know that one chick that obsessed on her ex for years to an unhealthy degree, usually caught a stalking charge, but it's not healthy to do that. You say, okay, this didn't work out. What can I do differently next time and not make that same mistake? These people are sickly ignorant,
disinformed, maliciously misled. 100%. Yes.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Mm-hmm. They're being lied to. It's why you see people now. We have this whole decolonization thing. That chant is getting louder and louder and louder. And I want to recommend again watching the Cambridge one and seeing the beginning of it where Ben gives his talk, because he talks about where all that shit comes from.
Yeah,
it is a purposeful thing, and it is meant to destroy the West. And people are dumb and falling for it. These are useful idiots. These are trained, useful idiots. But speaking of useful idiots, here, I don't know if I can watch this guy again.
I recommend watching both these talks without us.
True, yes.
Later on, obviously, not now, because we're awesome and we're talking about it. But if you want to hear everything in a more timely manner, don't try and watch it at like 4 speed, because Ben talks so fast, it sounds like they're arguing with Alvin from Alvin and the Chipmunks, and that just puts weird thoughts in your head.
I can listen to Ben at 2x because I live in Michigan, and these people talk like if they don't get it all out right now, they're going to die before they can finish. You ever speak to people from Michigan?
I try not to. They're creepy.
Good
no
God, I don't know how they do it. It's like I think I talk fast.
Well, they're cold. Look, they're cold,
Jesus.
and they got to go drive through potholes. So,
but anyway, I just want to point out for this, it's not an audio problem on our side. This guy, there's several of the people who do this. They don't understand how microphones work. See how far away Ben's mouth is from that microphone? A lot of these idiots get right up on it. So it's what's called peaking. It's where it makes that distorted sound.
Yeah.
It's not the video. It's not us. It's this idiot getting way too close to the microphone. Anyway, here we go.
I think the member in the green jumper. Yeah. Oh, sorry. I thought it was green. Yeah. Yep.
I love that part. She thought it was green. Look at this jumper color. I think it's green.
It looks green.
It looks green.
That's it. I think she needs her eyes checked.
I have 1.5 eyes, and I can see that's not green.
It looked green from a distance.
Maybe he's sitting under a colored light back there.
Oh my God! What if he's some Puerto Rican guy?
Oh, he might be, or
He's a chameleon.
Maybe he's oozing.
Yeah, he
Just
shed his green jumper on the way up and switched it to this white one. He is now Jumper the White.
All right. I know it's black and in your face, but you don't have to deep throat it, dude. Hold that thought, Delahaye.
Ben, it's an absolute displeasure to see me standing.
That is, by the way, that is really poor form in any kind of structured debate like this. That is completely rude and unprofessional.
Yes, it is. And the number of people, and nobody boos that down. They just all cheer for that. How fucking childish. You were at Oxford, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that tells you that the state of these Ivy League type schools, it's pretty fucking sad that you have to be that disrespectful. Look, you don't have to like the guy, but you should show some decorum.
Yeah. You don't have to be a cocksucker. How about, hey, I disagree with the things you say, but hey, at least you showed up here and I at least appreciate the chance to talk to you in person. No, it's a display. Then why are you there, prick? What a and guys, it doesn't get any better from here. This guy is a shitbag. Anyway.
I will get to my question, however.
Thank you for coming anyway.
My displeasure. Now,
Make sure you get that last word in, Dick.
Look how smart I am. I was mean to the nice guy that came here. Look, Ben has been nothing but cordial to all of these people.
Yes.
He even said, yeah, it's pleasure. And they go, it's my displeasure. Ha ha! Asshole.
Johnny says it's always one retard. Yeah, this guy's playing it up for the idiots that he's with. This is the guy I argue with on Twitter all the time.
Not literally, but
no, yeah, he's the personification of the person that I always end up arguing with on Twitter.
Yeah, it's somebody that just thinks they're funnier than they are, and they have no decorum or brain power. So,
and you say funnier than they are, but also smarter than they are, and he's going to prove that here in a minute.
They're all dumb, dude. I've seen the people you argue with. You fucking argue with tards all the time.
It's not on purpose. They come to me.
You enjoy poking retards with a stick. Don't give me that. If you see a kid with a helmet, I got to keep you away from them. It's like if short buses go. If we're out and like hanging out somewhere and a short bus rolls by, I'm gonna have to look for a lady monkey's like choker collar lead to stop you from going after him like a fucking pit bull after a baby.
You're gonna have to tackle me like it's a prank video.
Yeah.
Call back. All right.
Good one.
I'll repeat the question that I sought to ask you.
You haven't asked it yet.
Yeah.
I'll repeat the question I'm going to ask you. How about just asking it the first time?
You have recently been discussing a lot about the history of the occupation of Palestine. I will call it that. I know you will oppose that, but I will call it that. The occupation of Palestine.
The whole thing, right? Just to be clear?
The entirety of Palestine.
Thank you.
You may accuse me of genocide if you wish. That is not my position.
Sure. And I will, but go ahead.
Anyway.
A little snide from Ben there, but
I think it was deserved. I think you earned that one.
I am a fan of answering in kind. If you come to me on Twitter and you have a disagreement with me and we have a civil conversation, I will be civil to you. You start acting an ass, and I'm going to make it just about my enjoyment at that point. So I do not blame anybody for answering in kind. Now, if Ben had started out this way, then it'd be like, oh, you're an ass. But that was a little bit snide, and it did make me laugh.
So the point about the occupation of Palestine, you have released multiple videos. You have essentially made yourself the cheerleader of Israel in a lot of sort of Western media spaces.
Has he?
I've heard him criticize Israel before.
So have I.
Yeah, he's not like a blind zealot. Just because you disagree with him doesn't make him like some kind of shill or undercover operative.
You've made yourself the cheerleader of Israel in many media sources.
I do not want to picture Ben Shapiro in a cheerleader costume. Do you know how hairy that would be?
So I don't know how hairy Ben is.
I bet he's got a werewolf sweater on under that suit.
I'm betting he probably is one of those people who does like electrolysis all over his body.
Maybe, but if he didn't do that, he would be all like, "Look at my werewolf cloak."
I do just wonder if he expect, because some people have asked Ben. Ben goes out there, he does his show. He's very clear on where he stands on this whole conflict, and not just the current one, but going back to the beginning of Israel. at least 1948 Israel. And so the fact that he is Jewish and does have these, and he is a big creator, Jack, news outlets reach out to him and go, "Hey, Ben, you want to talk to us?" That's not him. Hang on a second. That's not him making himself the cheerleader. It's him being something of being known for talking about this. And so they're like, "Hey, let's talk to that guy who talks about this." He makes it sound like Ben is out there forcing it. "Hey, I'm a Jew. Get me on." You know what I mean? I have a feeling Ben is busy, and that he's not just like, hey, call up MSNBC, see if they'll have me on.
Yeah.
And there is a difference. There is a difference.
Absolutely. He's also running a company. He writes books. He does all sorts of stuff.
Thank you, Dark Resurrect, coming through that feminist $12.
Woo!
You know, I used to think it was just these elites who were indoctrinated to hate the Jews until I met that person yesterday who genuinely thinks Hamas has been falsely called a terrorist organization by Israeli propaganda. Now I just enjoy the no masks hate. I have been saying for years that the liberals out there hate Jews. That for all of their talk of calling everybody else Nazis, which, by the way, Jack, I was called a Nazi several times today.
Well, you know,
for saying it's wrong to kill Jews, but they're the ones they really hate Jews.
Yeah. I'm more and more convinced that the Klan is still running a lot of the Democrat Party. They're just putting on the veneer of being progressive. Like, oh, no, you see, black people don't want to be around white people. Right. They're trying to, like, push their talking points, but from a slightly different perspective, so you don't think it's them.
For the record, there are right-wing hate groups out there who hate Jews. You know, the difference is that people will come out and you are supposed to distance yourself from them. You're supposed to say bad, and you should. But when it comes to the left doing it, you're supposed to, well, I mean, let's have some nuance here. Let's have a little bit of nuance when the Jew hating pops up. You're so close-minded, you don't even want to hear the other side. Hit me with the other side. Tell me what you think I don't have. I've been brainwashed by public schools, Jack. I don't remember the Israeli conflict coming up in my public school education.
Yeah.
Anyhow, while you work on what it is you think I don't know, please write it out there. We'll see what happens here.
Oh, hang on.
I watched some of your videos about the conflict.
Whoops, sorry.
And I
Pause, damn it. All right. Go ahead.
Thank you, Dark Resurrect, for that feminist donation. For context, Jack, said person openly chants the genocide chant and refuses to understand its meaning. I've seen a lot of that lately. Even after I had told and showed them the context of its origin, Jewish propaganda, air quotes. I no longer talk to that person. I don't blame you. They're dumb.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sorry. Look, I have dumb friends too. And I'll tell them that they're like, you're being dumb. And then they're like, oh, you're just ignorant. Okay, you're a colonizer. Like, I don't know why I talk to them. But yeah, I get it, man. And I'm sorry you had to deal with that. But it's better you find out now how stupid they are and how gullible they are before they rat you out to the feds for some non-crime that's going to be a crime in 5 years.
Over the person who's arguing with me, this is Layla Decker, says, you were taught the Holocaust was real by a Jew-owned public school system. The Holocaust was real. If you want to argue about the number of people killed, that's a debate you can have. But you do understand, we do know that the eradication of the Jews, this was not something the Nazis were secretive about, right?
Yeah, they kept records of all the names and pictures. There's ditches full of bodies, too.
I mean, you can see footage of them when we found them.
Yeah, there's... that seems like the most overly complicated hoax in history, if that's the case, because you know how many people would have been involved in that project that had to have kept their mouths shut? That's ludicrous.
Yeah.
Yeah, the camps are still there. Like Auschwitz
Yeah.
is still there. Somebody stole the gates off that a couple years ago. Did you see that story?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, that was fucking sick. Yeah, that there's the fact that people still buy into that denialism about the Holocaust is pretty sad, really. It's like that's so much worse than the flat earthers, honestly.
I like I said, I could at least understand if like, hey, it wasn't 6 million Jews. Whatever. You're splitting hairs at that point. How many is a good number of Jews for them to wanted to kill and actually exterminate?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
We're not even talking about the ones Stalin killed.
Yeah,
we're just talking about the Nazis.
Just
Yeah,
the
and
Nazis.
Himmler confessed proudly in his Posen speech. Yeah.
And I love the idea that, well, they inflated the number. Do you think if they only said, oh, only 1 million Jews, that people would be like, oh, it was only 1 million Jews. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, it's just 1 million Jews and like 500,000 homosexuals and 500,000 members of like the Freemasons.
Why?
Yeah, that makes it better. What?
Why settle on 6 million? Why not go with a number that people are more used to, like, you know, one that ends in a 5, right? Like 5 million or 10 million Jews. No, that'll be too suspicious. Throw out 6. 6 they won't question.
Yeah. No, that's the flat earth mentality.
Please watch David Cole in Auschwitz 1992. You do realize there wasn't a genocide in 92, right? How about this? Go read history, all right? Stop watching weird guys on the internet who are telling you stupid shit because they know you're dumb enough to believe it and probably will push their shit to people who will give them money. Go out there and actually read the fucking documents that you can about what the Germans were doing.
What the Germans have admitted to doing.
Yes, this isn't even in question, for fuck's sake. Oh my God. All right, sorry, I can't. Let's go to the other Jew haters here.
Okay.
Essentially made yourself the cheerleader of Israel in a lot of sort of Western media spaces. So I watched some of your videos about the conflict, and I found a number of inaccuracies. First of all, you describe in 1920, you refer to Jordan as part of Palestine historically. That has never been the case. There has never been a state of Jordan.
British Mandate Palestine, yes.
That is still not the case.
It's absolutely the case.
Jordan has never been part or considered part.
What? You paused it? Or we lose you? Oh, snap.
It's a region. I'm sorry. Where did I get cut off?
The
guy was still talking when it cut out.
Jordan has never been part or considered part of Palestine. The only time that Jordan has been considered adjacent to Palestine is part of sort of biblical mythology where Transjordan was a reason.
That's not true. That is absolutely not true.
That's not true at all.
It's not true at all. Adabisi, thank you so much for that donation with no message, my friend. I appreciate it.
And thank you, Adabisi, for the generous donation. I know this Jewish chick. Her boyfriend went to her Jewish house and argued for Hamas with the dad. He was planning on marrying her. I had a good time with her later.
Wow.
Oh man, that's a bold move right there on that ex-boyfriend's part. Wow.
Indeed. He's lucky he didn't get shot. In this case, what he's trying to do is argue that Jordan was never part of what is now called Israel. And he's even wrong then. You have to remember at one time that whole little area over there was colloquially called Palestine. Again, this is something like saying the Midwest, the Southeast, the Mideast. It wasn't this thing that they have it now. We're like, no, we're the Palestinian people. It's a state where we've always, that's not how that is a relatively new concept. But when it comes to that area, yes, they absolutely were part of Palestine.
Wildly inaccurate. The British mandate had a mandate over all of Palestine, and then they separated off Transjordan and handed it to the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan.
You will get your chance to reply. Let me finish.
He was just rebutting your point, and you had stopped, so he rebutted it. This guy's such an asshole. And this is what I was talking about with the peaking. To try to make his point, he gets into the mic really close. I'm not going to do it because I'm not an asshole myself. Thank you, Grimm's Bar. Wasn't Stalin Jordanian? Was he?
I don't know.
I don't know enough about his parentage and genealogy to know, honestly.
Hold on, I'll look it up. He was born in Georgia, not Jordan, Georgia, the country.
He was Georgian.
Yeah.
There we go.
Now, my second.
Oh, look at him stand up to Ben.
The second point that you have phrased constantly and consistently, and it's quite a popular Zionist talking point, is the fact that the Arabs have rejected peace every time it was offered to them. Now, I would like, of course, there's been multiple times where peace has been offered. So,
for those of you just listening along, when he says there's been multiple times peace has been offered, he does the sarcastic air quotes. That is important, because if he does the sarcastic thing, Jack, that means that peace never really was offered. Nah, you see, no, I did air quotes, so it means it wasn't real. It wasn't real. Air quotes.
But let's discuss some of them. The Peel Commission.
Oh, real quick, thank you, Pig Riser. Nothing to say other than keep it up, guys. Well, thank you so very much. Appreciate it. We'll do our best.
Thanks, man.
Are you still mad at me for pausing too much?
I just looked up this Cole guy, David Cole. He's a so-called journalist. He acknowledged that there was a part of a genocidal program against Polish Jews, but he claims it ended in 1943 when the Nazis realized they needed Jewish slave labor for factories. And he claims they only killed 4 million rather than 6 million Jewish lives.
It's odd considering the Russians found Jews in Auschwitz when they got there.
Yeah. Michael Shermer, who I absolutely detest, mentions this guy in his book Denying History and goes through all of debunking this guy's arguments.
Is that why they were keeping them all in camps for when they needed them for labor, and they couldn't even move their arms because they had no meat left on them?
They needed really skinny people. They were putting on a fashion show. It was sweeps week.
Why do people listen to people like that?
I don't know. It's sort of like
anyway.
Murray Rothbard. He's been debunked so many times. I don't fucking get it.
There you go. You're using Google. Don't do that. So the guy said it, but because it's on Google, it's not real.
All right. Actually, I could give you citations if you want. I mean, Denying History has a lot of it right there. But there was also articles about him in The Guardian. See, that would be... let me find the exact... I'll pull up the exact thing here. You said Gawker also had him. Hollywood conservative unmasked as notorious Holocaust revisionist. And that was June 12th, 2018 from The Guardian.
Yeah, see, he's not even a denier. He's just a revisionist. He must have went to one of them Jew schools like I did.
Yeah.
Because he believes it happened. Damn denier.
I'll drop the article right there.
I'm going to get back to this retard. Man, then we're surrounded by him.
Of course, there's been multiple times where peace has been offered. So let's discuss some of them. The Peel Commission. The Peel Commission entailed expelling multiple Arab families and multiple Arab communities, largely agrarian, from the land in order to create a Jewish state under a colonial authority.
All right, I got to stop there. Guys, if you're ever on a mic and you want to make a point, don't lean into the mic. Just talk louder. Because when you lean into the mic, it peaks like that and it pisses me off. It makes you sound like a retard, too. No, not puke.
Now, I understand, of course, you are a Zionist, so you believe that's desirable. But for the Palestinian farmers, I can imagine they would not have enjoyed that. Number two, you mentioned that the, that after 1948, the Arabs had the chance to negotiate and make peace with Israel. Apart from the fact that in 1956, Israel invaded the Sinai in Egypt, unprovoked, purely due to the fact that President Nasser nationalized the Suez Canal. Then you claim that the 1967 war was a war of extermination. But if you will read any trust
Sorry, we have a donation coming through. I know that always causes a dip there. So let's grab this real quick. Mid-century German painter. Thank you so much. Hey, I finally have a solution to end this conflict. I'm sorry. I'm building some Jew resorts, real nice places that they will never want to leave. Well,
Say
thank you, Art.
Uncle Adolf.
I
You
think that's
wacky bastard. Go back to Happy
Probably
Valley.
Uncle Adolf.
Trusted and respected historian over the 1967 war, and perhaps you may even decide to read some of the books of Moshe Dayan about the actual conflict, where he describes that Israel actually provoked the conflict, and there was no chance of the extermination of Israel.
Now, for the record, I think you get a better answer to that part, specifically the 1967 war, in one of the answers over on the Cambridge discussion.
Yeah.
That comes up specifically, and they're talking about the Suez Canal, right?
Yes, Suez.
And what precipitated the 1967 war. But let's get him back to he's got 30 different things he's gonna say. This smug little fucker. He finally does get to a question, you guys.
But he was like, yeah, they started that war, standing there looking all Jewish.
I heard Monkey reading a comment and couldn't find it, so I had to come witness the helmet wear. Yeah, guys, remember, I have both chats open. I see both of them. The person I'm talking about is over there on Rumble. So if you're on YouTube, you're not seeing it. So if you're wondering, where is he reading that from? It's not your chat broken or something. It's on a different chat. All right, here we go.
Then you claimed that the 1973 war was a war of the destruction of Israel once again, which it was not. It was actually the reclaiming of the Sinai and the Golan Heights, which Israel has illegally occupied. So you have lied multiple times.
Yeah, the Golan Heights was decided in the 67 war.
Yeah, just because you lost doesn't mean they stole it from you. Don't start a fucking fight, then lose and bitch about it.
It wasn't the Golan Heights was a part of the deal with Jordan at the end of it, right?
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
If I'm remembering my history correct.
Look, Israel got attacked by 6 countries and they won. Granted, we were funneling them an assload of weaponry, but
sure.
Still, you got pwned, and of course they took some territory from you as punishment. That's how wars work. It's called conquest. It's been done from time immemorial, and it will continue on into the future.
I can continue if you wish, but I would like to ask you the question. When you lie, do you feel shame?
That's what... Have you stopped beating your wife?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm saying all this stuff. So when you lie, do you feel shame?
I have these very biased sources.
Yeah, by that measure, you should be feeling very, very shamed right now because you just lied about a bunch of stuff. Yeah. But let's let Ben answer that, shall we?
Indeed.
Okay, so...
Sorry, we had to get the clap in because he boned Ben. I love Ben rolling his eyes right there.
Yeah.
Waiting for these retards to stop clapping.
In order for me to feel shame, I would have to be lying as opposed to you just being wrong about all of these things, which you are.
Nancy, that is Ben being much nicer to him than I would be. Because he just said, you're just wrong about there's no way. If this guy knows this stuff, then he knows the truth. And he's just going with what he prefers to believe.
The one Islamic source that he cited, that author, is a very biased source.
Yeah.
That's like reading Machiavelli's The Prince and not realizing that through the entire thing, Machiavelli is kissing the prince's ass. Because it's his attempt to get in good graces with the court again. And it's very obvious when you read it. Because he's like, oh, your beautiful royal majesty.
It's like reading the people right now who are on the side of Hamas in this. And yes, the side of Hamas in what's going on right now. Completely ignoring everything. Look, it's the Jews' fault. We saw this. The day of the attack on October 7th, you see these American universities come out with these statements. It's the Jews' fault that this happened.
Then a lot of law firms were like, "We're not hiring you," and they're like, "Oh well, didn't really mean it."
Yep.
So let me start from the very beginning of what you said. Let's try to go through the calendar. British Mandate Palestine was ruled by the British. They carved off Transjordan in 1920, and Transjordan was made into Transjordan with the Hashemite kingdom, which, by the way, is not domestic to the actual area of Jordan. So if you're talking about a colonial outpost, Jordan would be it, since the Hashemite kingdom has nothing to do with the actual Palestinian Arabs who are living in Transjordan. Talking about the Peel Commission. If the idea is that there would have to be a separation of populations in order to effectuate a two-state solution, which you deny, then I was right. Of course, there was a deal on the table. The Jews accepted it. The Arabs rejected it. So you did not actually undermine my case.
In his
There should be no deal in the
If he gets right into the microphone, fuck
I believe
you.
that's called a Hummer.
Oh.
So I mean, I'm sure his boyfriend appreciates it, but
He doesn't like this because this is why I pointed out his air quotes. With him doing the air quotes, he was all of these things that he lists. There have been plenty of times that peace deals have been taken to the Palestinians and they've rejected them every fucking time. And when they've gotten close where it looked like there was going to be a deal, what happens? We have explosions in Israel.
two things. First of all, no, I'm sorry, Telfin. Transjordan identifies as Jordan.
Yes.
And consider said mom. sounds like Charlie Brown's mom there.
on the table. The Jews accepted it. The Arabs rejected it. So you did not actually undermine my case.
In his
There should be no deal in the first place.
in his diary states.
Hold on. I listened to your whole bullshit history for like 5 minutes here. So at least let me respond to it.
Yeah, and remember when that happened, the guy had actually stopped saying something and Ben responds to it. So at that point, there was an actual exchange of ideas until he got bitch slapped, and then suddenly, like, hey, let me have my whole discussion here, where he's just being a douchebag talking over Ben. That's important. It comes back up later.
Your entire claim is that the Arabs did not reject peace, and then in your own disquisition, you admitted that the Arabs rejected the Peel Commission plan, which was a separation between the Jews and the Arabs, which gave an extraordinary amount of land to the Arabs. The Arabs then rejected the peace partition plan proposed by the United Nations in 1947. They then proceeded to reject the Oslo Accords in 93. After that, they rejected the Wye River Accords in 98. They rejected Ehud Barak's very generous offer in 2000. They rejected Olmert's very generous offer in 2008. Every single peace deal that has been proposed by Israel or anyone else has been rejected by the Arabs for a very simple reason, which was the very first question I asked you. You do not accept that there should be a Jewish state anywhere in this region. So as long as that's the case, there's literally nothing to argue about. You cannot simultaneously maintain the position there should not be a Jewish state anywhere in the region and then tell me that I'm wrong when I say that the Arabs will not accept a two-state solution. You yourself say that there should not be a two-state solution.
Damn Ben and his facts.
Yeah, look at you with your reading and literacy and your whole like peace accord nonsense. Obviously a trap. Also, thank you, Volpateo. He talked down to Ben when Ben talked during his question turned speech. So of course he talks over Ben when he's answering.
Oh,
Yeah, a couple people pointed that out. You'll get a chance to respond, and then repeatedly interrupts Ben because the guy's a dick.
but wait, it gets better.
There's more.
So the first point that I'll firstly address the last point that you made about the Palestine and whether there should be a Jewish state. The point you are making there is you're suggesting that the Arabs will not accept a Jewish state. Well, the reason that the Arabs would not accept the Jewish state is multifaceted.
It's complex.
Let me finish. So the reason that it's multifaceted is due to a variety of
Yeah, don't be a snide asshole. Talks over. Oh shit.
Yeah, whoopsie.
dynamics. The Zionist movement arrived as a settler colonial project, and it is described as that. You can read the books of Jablonski. You can
read fucking history. The Jews already lived there. Just more Jews moved there after World War II. It's not like there were no Jews in that area.
What? There were Jews in Judea? Like thousands of years ago? When the Egyptians tried to conquer them?
I'm talking 1945.
Oh, well, I mean, they've been there for thousands of years. I mean, it's amazing how they were there at all. I mean, no, they're just brand new. They're like travelers and gypsies. You know, somebody
Exactly.
just picked them up and you're like, you live over here now.
Evolved, exactly. And you'll see this a lot in these discussions. You can read books that agree with me. Yes, that's what it is. If you don't go with history, you can actually go read. Yeah, listen to this weird imam who wrote a book who clearly hates Jews and makes no bones about it. He knows the real truth, and it's an unbiased source.
Totally.
And read Zionist literature from the early 20th century. It states that it was a colonial project. Now let's address.
And that's important to, hey, no colonialism. Colonialism comes up a lot in this stuff.
Yeah.
And again, it's another go watch the Cambridge one where you can see Ben's speech at the beginning. But anyway, colonialism, not a bad thing.
Yeah, chicken tendies. Apparently, Islamic immigration only flows one way. Yes. Just ask Spain when they were conquered.
That's the lies that you mentioned. Let's address the refutation that you made. In 1937, the Peel Commission, if you read the diaries of David Ben-Gurion, he explicitly states that the partition, that the partition was a temporary move to ensure the conquest of the full land. In 1948, there had already been an intercommunal civil war in Palestine, which had seen Jewish defense forces versus the Arab forces. There was already a conflict that preceded 1948. To claim that the Arabs simply rejected the UN partition plan is once again ahistorical. You then...
Nothing you just said refutes that they rejected the plan.
If anything, it kind of supports Ben's statements. Or
you can say that they shouldn't have taken the plan, but you can't sit there and say they didn't take it when they fucking clearly didn't.
Well, they could take it under the duress of the Jewish existence.
They've been to those Zionist schools. Look at Ben's face. Fucking Ben's face, man. He is legitimately flabbergasted by these retards. This is not performative. This is like, I don't even know how to talk to somebody like this.
Yeah, because they're only getting one source, and it's the most extreme possible source. That makes no sense to me. Maybe read more than one perspective.
A diary? Well, excuse me, I didn't realize he had such rock solid sources. Hey, he had a diary. Okay.
I'd like to point out even Anne Frank's diary was edited.
True.
Literally rejected it. How could it be ahistorical if they literally rejected it?
If there was a war beforehand,
and once again, you just reject fundamentally the existence of the state of Israel, period. So how can...
to interrupt you, I was told to silence. So I would ask you again, please shut up.
That's so fucking unprofessional and rude. The lack of decorum is appalling from these kids.
And this is oh God. Kids today have arrogance they have not earned.
Yeah.
Like, and for me, the biggest problem, Jack, when we were kids, our arrogance was, I could get any girl I wanted kind of arrogance. These guys actually think they're intelligent. And they're arguing.
Sophomores often translated to wise fool.
The amount of people that I argue with who have clearly no idea of what they're talking about. I'm telling you, this is the guy I argue with on Twitter. Don't know a fucking thing. I argued with a guy today, Jack, who drops an article that literally doesn't prove what he says. And he puts it in the same post as what he said, right? So it's all together. And when I pointed that out, he tells me this, and I'm not kidding. You should have paid attention to the essence of my statement.
The essence? Oh, fuck off.
True story. That's the word he used.
Yeah, I know a moderately big word. No, it's just like Hunter Avalon.
Yeah.
They read part of it, or they heard it supports their argument, and that's good enough for them. Because doing real research is time consuming and sometimes challenging.
This kid, he's not here to have any kind of actual discussion or even a debate. He
No.
is here to just try to make Ben look bad. He's here to pwn Ben.
Yeah.
And you made an ass of yourself, dude.
Yeah, telling him to shut up is completely violates the decorum of this type of debate. It's very, very unprofessional and rude.
Frankly, the moderators, the way he opened, should have asked him to leave.
Oh, absolutely. The moderator should have kicked him out right then. Like,
Yep.
cut his mic, get him out of here. Because there's a certain amount of decorum you have to have in a formal debate setting, and this is pathetic. It really reflects poorly on Oxford, honestly.
Well, look, he told him to shut up. So let's see how smart he gets here. I'm sure it's going to be wonderful. He's got something really important to say.
Oh, mm-hmm.
My point now, I would like to continue. And you then mention the, what was the peace plan you mentioned after?
Okay, which one?
He just told him to shut up. And now he's got the nerve to be like, what was it you said?
Gotcha, Ben.
Let's watch that in real time, shall we?
Indeed.
My point now,
Oh, wait.
I was told to silence, so I would ask you again, please shut up. My point now, I would like to continue. And you then mention the, what was the peace plan you mentioned after?
Okay, which one should we do?
It's less than 10 seconds from where he tells him to shut up and then asks him, what'd you say?
Way to pay attention.
It was 9 seconds. If he'd shut the fuck up, and Ben was already addressing what he was saying, but hey, I got something important to what was I gonna say?
Should we do
we finished 1948. What after?
Okay, so there was the 2000 peace plan from Ehud Barak. There was the 2008 peace plan from Ehud Olmert. There's the pullout of Israel from Gaza Strip in 2005, handing it over to Hamas.
Let's get the next person up now.
All right. Thank you very much.
And then has the balls to finish with "thank you very much." That I'm telling you, Jack. I've probably spoke to him actually. All right.
You probably know that dude's favorite flavor of window.
Probably. This is the next guy. Now, this one we got to preface just a little tiny bit. So there was a guy who pops up earlier who's not an asshole to Ben, who actually says to him, I've been watching you since 2015. You started me on my conservative journey. We didn't watch him. It's not all that interesting. You watch it again. I recommend watching both of these. But for the purposes of where we are right now, that's all that's important. You know, the guy got up there. You started me on my journey. And then this guy gets up there. You notice he's surprisingly dressed like the other guy. He's just wearing black pants instead of white. I mean, they almost have the same shoes on.
I wonder if they play in that.
It looks kind of green, really. Anyway.
Ben. I've also watched you from 2015, but then like I grew up. I became a lefty, but yeah.
Him and one other person laughed at his joke. That's all I wanted to watch of that guy. It just made me laugh. Like he just completely bombs with his little shitty joke. All right, and we're gonna skip ahead to the end here, Jack. I think let's let him finish it. There we go. All right. The announcer lady, she's got something else to say here.
Before we wrap up, I wanted to ask two final questions. One of them is this didn't come up yet in the interview, but you've been quite vocal in your criticisms of the Black Lives Matter movement, stating that all lives matter. But throughout this interview, you have not equally defended Palestinian lives, the civilian Palestinian lives, in the way that you have Israeli civilian lives.
What?
One, that's not true. In the comment we watched with the one lady who doesn't understand World War II history, he even says it's not okay. Hang on one second. He says it's not okay for Israelis to be killing civilians. And the whole
Yeah.
point here is that there's a difference between the way civilians are dying in Gaza right now and what happened to the Israelis on October 7th.
Yeah. He has said several times that any innocent life is tragically lost in war. But it's inevitable. I don't know how he didn't like you're killing a person. You know, it's not like they're communists. These are actual people.
Mr. Dax, thank you, says it's like these idiots go on stage to perform some D-tier stand-up routine. It's exactly, they're trying to make their friends laugh. Look how funny they are.
Oh man, yeah, they come off like that really unfunny lady who just told sad stories as stand-up.
Oh, you said unfunny lady, and there were so many that came to mind. You're talking about Nanette. What's her name? Hannah Gadsby.
I can't. Yeah, Hannah Gadsby.
Yeah.
I try and block her out of my memory, but because she's so hideous.
I mean, Ben literally points out, what you're suggesting by saying that Israelis should never kill a civilian, not that they're targeting that, but none can ever die in their airstrikes, is basically saying Hamas gets to run free because they're hiding behind the civilians. And this bit, you don't care about the Palestinian lives the way you do about the Jew lives. Bullshit. That is a bullshit statement. It's like you don't even listen. It's like you already have your mind made up before you ever listen to anything said.
Well, that's true.
On behalf of Australia, I apologize for Hannah Gadsby. Don't worry. I've gotten lots of laughs out of her for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah, we can't blame all of Australia for that.
Nah.
Just the deserty part.
All right. So let's let her say her stupid shit and actually ask her question.
Throughout this interview, you have not equally defended Palestinian lives, the civilian Palestinian lives, in the way that you have Israeli civilian lives. So when it comes to Israel-Palestine, do all lives not matter then?
So first off, it's a wild mischaracterization of a position that I've obviously expressed to you. You literally asked me, do I value Palestinian lives the same way I value Jewish lives? And I said, yes. I don't believe that the act of evil in targeting a Jewish child is the same as a military attempting to target a terrorist who's hiding behind a baby.
And this is, I mean, if you wanted to, you could go find it. I'm guessing this happened beforehand. Like I said, there is a talk that happens before the Q&A. This is just the Q&A. And if that exchange did happen and she still had the balls to ask that.
Well, he even said that when he was arguing with the one lady with the hijab.
Ben Shapiro is on the campus of Oxford University. And he's the bad guy for thinking it's wrong to murder people in the name of terrorism.
And he's saying it's wrong to hide behind women and children.
Yeah.
When you're trying to murder people. I don't understand the moral equivalence she's trying to draw, because I agree with Ben. It's horrible to kill a civilian. It's equally horrible to hide behind civilians and use them as a human shield. That's pretty fucked up.
So don't mistake the position, please. When it comes to the all lives matter position, of course I believe that all lives matter. My fundamental disagreement with Black Lives Matter is I don't agree with their premise. Their premise is that Black people in the United States are being uniquely targeted by law enforcement for murder. And I don't think that the statistics prove that. I don't think the evidence is
the statistics absolutely 100% do not prove that. They just don't.
No.
Therefore that. So I don't agree with the fundamental premise of the Black Lives Matter movement. Not that I don't believe that Black lives don't matter. Of course, Black lives matter. They matter exactly the same amount as every other human life. But again, there's I think a willful attempt to misinterpret my position on some of these issues.
Okay, thank you. And one question that we ask all of our guests who come here: if you could leave our members with one thing to think about, what would it be?
Now, Jack,
is cereal soup.
I was going to ask you. You're asked that question at this place after what you just saw. What would you leave these people with?
Oh, it'd be like, you all need to reevaluate what you intend to be in life, because you're all going to be baristas.
I would tell them that I don't know how much they pay or if they're paying to go to school here, but I would leave them with the idea that you need a better education, because what you're learning is wrong and stupid.
Yeah, they're obviously only getting one side of arguments, and that is really pathetic. Look, some of this shit was really starting to ramp up when I was in college, but it is insane now. We had biased teachers. You just write your paper toward what the teacher wanted, and it was always some lefty bullshit. I wrote an 18-page paper on the benefits of prostitution for a women's lit class. That's the type of shit that happened in the 90s. This stuff is bonkers.
Yeah.
These people are getting ripped off. They're going to go out in the world and make decisions that are going to destroy their country.
Yep. All right, let's see Ben's answer.
I mean, I think that tonight, the thing that I would leave with is the same thing that I came in with, which is that there are certain values that are worth protecting. There are certain values that are worth protecting. And one of those values is the value of understanding, the value of understanding clear moral differentiation, which obviously has been completely obscured. I think tonight we've seen some evidence of people obscuring some clear moral differentiation between the targeted burning of babies in their homes in front of their mothers by shoving them in an oven and people attempting to kill terrorists who are themselves putting civilians in harm's way in violation of the rules of war and the Geneva Conventions.
True story.
Yep.
We have another idiot in chat.
Oh,
I got to address him. Give me just a moment. Salt says, so this is where American gun-toting incels with small penises get together to chat. Yes.
I'm delightfully average, thank you.
The American gun-toting. I love that you got to throw in all the insults. It can't just be gun-toting or incels or small penis. Got to have all three of them together.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, I'm sure you are out there banging. You're just slaying the puss with your massive dick. That's why you came to the chat to make that comment, because that's what gets women wet, is running into a random chat and making a stupid comment.
Dude, I can't tell you how many chicks I've seen their panties just get so wet they drop when
They slip
somebody's
right
like,
off.
I said something smart in a chat. Yeah, that just gets them all wet and drippy, man.
Yep. You showed us the way. Now we know. For fuck's sake.
Oh, I feel like my entire life has changed now. Like, I'm gonna sell off all my non-existent guns, and I'm just gonna start blindly following what the mainstream media tells me to follow. Only read certain books, because you don't want to read sources that might disagree, because then you might get a different perspective. No, it's you just gotta and I'm gonna get a penis pump because why not?
Well, specifically to you, Salt, my penis size is between me and your mother. All right, let's finish with Ben here.
Well, her cheeks anyway.
And if you're one of the people who's making this sort of moral equivalence, I ask for you to check your own heart. And if you're one of the people who's watching people make this moral equivalence and being convinced by the supposed complexity of the issue, I ask for you to check your brain.
There you go.
Right.
And he's right. There's no moral complexity about this. If you want to talk about the overall history and stuff, fine, that's fine. But we are talking about the specific conflict going on right now, and people trying to justify terrorism. Go fuck yourselves. They went out and purposefully slaughtered civilians. That is the difference. That is the difference that you can't quite wrap your weird little brains around. There's a big difference between killing somebody intentionally and doing it because you were killing a terrorist and the terrorist was hiding there. All right, Jack, we're going to wrap up here. I know you had another article. We'll have to save that for tomorrow, because I do want to try to get some game streaming in tonight, and it's already almost 4.
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming and hanging out with us tonight. I really do appreciate it. Thank you for the donations. You guys are so awesome to us. Jack, anything you want to shell out?
I'll drop a link to something or other. As always, thank you so much for the donations. You guys are awesome. Yeah, I appreciate you guys coming out night after night, and thanks for the tips. I don't know what else to say other than you guys are awesome.
I'll be over. I think I'm going to play Phasmo. I don't know. Maybe I'll play Phasmo and then play some Ark, because I really got the Ark itch going.
Are you playing Phasmo with Bubba?
Yeah, if Bubba's down.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I saw him in the chat. So
yeah, he's still here. Bubba, you want to play? You want to play some?
getting drafted, Bubba.
But I was just gonna send him the number if you want to play. If I see him awake, I sometimes ask and sometimes don't. Sometimes I just assume, which probably is not the right way to be. Guys, that is over on twitch.tv/ranting monkey. Be playing video games in a little while. If I don't play Ark tonight, maybe I'll play in the morning. Tomorrow's gonna suck for me, Jack, because I did all that work today. We didn't tell the audience about that, did we? I was out doing yard work today, so tomorrow's gonna suck. And
That's why I don't do my yard work.
man, we just have so many leaves. Gotta get
You
rid
know
of
what that
them.
is? That's future mulch. I just leave them.
Yeah, but it'll destroy your yard, and I like having a yard.
No, my yard's fucking awesome. It grows ridiculously.
What? No, see, we're talking the amount of leaves that will kill your yard.
Oh, see, that'd be fine with me too. My dream is to pave the yard.
But then you got to go clear them all off your pavement because that water being held there is not good for it either.
Nah, I just get the hose on them. all that shit will go right in the river.
I don't think you understand quite how many leaves I'm talking about here.
I know. I don't have that many trees, so.
In just one small section of my front yard, there's like 8 trees.
Yard work is a euphemism for butt sex.
If only. Probably be less painful in the long run.
Probably.
But guys, twitch.tv/ranting monkey, playing video games here in just a little bit. I will tweet it out when I'm ready to go live. Jack, a pleasure as always, my friend.
Always glad to be here.
Everyone, take care of yourselves. I love you, and we will see y'all next time.
Bye, everybody.
You need to pay attention to the essence of what I said. I almost laughed so hard that I really should be